Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Stay ahead of the curve with our cutting-edge reporting and accurate breaking news coverage.
We're having an earthquake. Oh, God.
Hear it here first on Nationwide 90 FM. Tune in, turn up the volume, and listen. We bring a mix of news, entertainment, and sports to your lives.
Nationwide 90 FM's live and continuous coverage of the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary.
News and discussions week mornings.
Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning.
Entertainment in the afternoons, then news again in the evenings.
Nationwide news at this hour. Fired.
Also, tune into the entertainment and sports shows in the nights and on the weekends.
It is Boy Things After Dark right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
Everything is news, from current affairs and entertainment to sports, business, and other categories.
Nationwide 90 FM. This is Beanie Man. Give it to them. Zaga, Zen.
From every whisper to every commotion.
That's rubbish. The KSAMC cannot investigate itself.
Every news story unfolds here first at Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Every sound is a story, and every story we share is news.
News on the go. The latest stories from Jamaica and around the world are literally a finger tap away. Keep up to date with Team Revolution 24 hours a day online via nationwideradiojm.com. Listen live, read the latest stories, hear every soundbite. Be a part of the vibrant online debate via Facebook and Twitter. Now you can get all your favorite premium Nationwide content at your convenience. Visit the Android Play Store and download it for free today. NationwideRadioJM.com. All day, every day. Team Revolution.
Christmas starts here at H&L Rapid True Value. Get Christmas ready by shopping the latest in our catalog. The time brought to you by H&L Rapid True Value is...
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
News at 5 teasers are brought to you by Advanced Scales and Equipment. Service is our total commitment.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robian Williams.
In Nationwide news at this hour, the Cabinet has backed Prime Minister Andrew Holness in the latest Integrity Commission saga involving a Beverly Hills townhouse complex.
We in the Cabinet, we stand with the Prime Minister on this matter.
And the JLP accuses the Integrity Commission of waging an unrelenting, baseless attack against the Prime Minister.
The Jamaica Labour Party condemns what appears to be unrelenting, baseless, and coordinated attacks by elements within the Integrity Commission on the reputation of Prime Minister Andrew Holness.
The OUR says the JPS is liable to pay close to $200 million for breaches of service standards.
Government names Joint Select Committee to review the bill intended to abolish the British monarch as Jamaica's head of state.
The Cabinet has approved a $2 billion emergency road project.
In news from the rest of the world, Haiti's main international airport in Port-au-Prince reopens to commercial flights.
Head of the FBI in the United States announces plan to resign before Donald Trump takes office.
In headline sports, Wolmer's lift the All-Ireland ISA Under-16 netball trophy.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35, the Jamaica Labour Party has condemned the recent Integrity Commission report alleging irregularities in the development and building approval processes at a premises linked to the Prime Minister. A member of the party's communication task force, Marlon Morgan, will join us.
In Public Opinion at 6:26, we ask, what's your reaction to the Prime Minister suggesting he's being targeted by the Integrity Commission? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90 FM.
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile. Nationwide 90 FM, nationwideradiojm.com, and on the Nationwide app. Available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Wednesday afternoon, it's Wednesday, December 11, 2024.
News at 5 teasers were brought to you by Advanced Scales and Equipment. Service is our total commitment.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
And now to the details. The Information Minister, Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon, has asserted the Cabinet's full support for Prime Minister Andrew Holness amid public controversy over the latest report from the Integrity Commission. The report concerns building breaches by a company linked to Mr. Holness. Minister Morris-Dixon was responding to a question at the post-Cabinet media briefing today. Mahiri Stewart was there.
On Tuesday, the Integrity Commission revealed findings of an investigation it conducted regarding Prime Minister Holness. A company formerly owned by the Prime Minister came under scrutiny for breaches of the Building Act and violations of terms outlined in a building permit issued by the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation. The investigation was triggered following a receipt of a report alleging irregularities in the development and building approval processes at a townhouse complex under construction in Beverly Hills. In response to the report, Mr. Holness issued a statement stating that he believed he was being unfairly targeted by the anti-corruption body. The Information Minister says the Cabinet backs the Prime Minister's stance.
The Prime Minister was very clear in his statement, and the report was tabled yesterday in the House. I have not had a chance to go through it, and so I know we'll be reviewing it throughout the course of the day. But the Prime Minister's statement was very clear. He said many things. He thought that this was a transparent attempt at attacking his character. He was very clear on that. And I know that we in the Cabinet, we stand with the Prime Minister on this matter. And these are definitely matters that are before the court, and so I try not to speak about matters that are before the court. But the Prime Minister in his statement was very clear that he was not a director, he's not a shareholder, and he doesn't own the property.
The Information Minister says she's growing tired of seeing the Prime Minister's reputation being under constant attack.
All of these things that we've seen where we are lauded around the world for, especially in terms of our economy, that was all done under the leadership of the Most Honorable Dr. Andrew Holness. This is an individual who has given his life to really supporting Jamaica in our dream of becoming a country that is seen as meeting its potential. I see someone who is working really hard for our country, and who I see his reputation being tarnished month after month after month.
Dr. Morris-Dixon says since the Prime Minister's statement, she has noted that media houses have made corrections to their original reports.
I do note that there were some reports overnight that had said things different than that. And I note that this morning there are some editorial notes under some of those reports, which means that individuals are now clarifying previous reports that had been made. It is really important, especially when we're dealing with someone's integrity and character, that we get the stories right and that we don't issue statements that are not completely accurate. And I see the reports being corrected, and I'm very happy for that, and I thank members of the media who have been correcting their stories overnight. That's important.
Mahiri Stewart for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, the Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, has condemned the recent Integrity Commission report alleging irregularities in the development and building approval processes at premises linked to the Prime Minister. The JLP says the IC's report is evidence of an unrelenting, baseless and coordinated attack on the Prime Minister's reputation. Dana Davey reports.
The IC's report, tabled in Parliament on Tuesday, had its genesis in the receipt of a report on July 10 alleging planning breaches at a townhouse complex at 2 Wheatcliff Close in Beverly Hills. The Commission said its investigations showed that the complex featured 4-bedroom units when it was only granted approval for 2-bedroom units. The property originally belonged to Prime Minister Holness but was transferred to Estate Bridge, an entity also formerly owned by Mr. Holness. On Wednesday, the JLP said agents within the IC have attacked the Prime Minister's reputation without credible basis for the better part of 2 years. Marlon Morgan is a member of the JLP's Communications Task Force.
The Jamaica Labour Party condemns what appears to be unrelenting, baseless, and coordinated attacks by elements within the Integrity Commission on the reputation of Prime Minister and Jamaica Labour Party leader, Dr. the Most Honourable Andrew Holness, and the duly elected government of Jamaica, which he leads. Thrice in under 2 years, agents within the Integrity Commission have, without credible basis, attacked and effectively maligned the Prime Minister's reputation.
Mr. Morgan referenced 3 separate reports tabled by the Integrity Commission over the past year, which he said have sought to malign the character of Prime Minister Holness. One such report was tabled in February 2023, which suggested that the Prime Minister be charged due to an alleged conflict of interest. Another report, tabled in March this year, suggested that the Prime Minister be investigated for not declaring sums of money in the bank accounts of his parents. That aspect of the report is now the subject of a judicial review. Mr. Morgan says the latest report is potentially the most egregious attack. He posited that while the governing party supports the Integrity Commission as an institution of Parliament, it's constrained to believe it has been hijacked by agents operating with malicious intent towards the Prime Minister.
The Jamaica Labour Party wishes to reaffirm its commitment to contributing to the fight against corruption in Jamaica, which includes the passage of the Integrity Commission Act, the establishment, and indeed the funding of the Integrity Commission. The Jamaica Labour Party insists that the anti-corruption fight should not be sabotaged or undermined in any way, given the bizarre and baseless actions of some agents of the Integrity Commission. Unfortunately, the Jamaica Labour Party is constrained to make public its view that the Commission has been hijacked by a few agents which are acting unfairly, in a biased manner, and manifestly with malice toward Prime Minister Andrew Holness and the government.
Dana Davey for Nationwide News.
In other news now, the Jamaica Public Service Company, the JPS, has been responsible for over 90% of compensation payouts for breaches of guaranteed service standards. That's according to the recently published Office of Utilities Regulation Annual Report for the 2023-2024 period. Siobhan Campbell has been reading the document.
During the review period, service providers paid out more than $195 million to consumers. The payments resulted from actions taken by the Office of Utilities Regulation, OUR, or as compensation for breaches of guaranteed service standards. JPS accounted for the majority of breaches and payouts. The company committed a total of 81,544 breaches. This led to a potential compensation amounting to approximately $181.1 million. The amount was paid out automatically to affected customers. Meanwhile, the National Water Commission, NWC, was responsible for more than 9,200 breaches, with potential compensation totaling approximately $42.3 million. However, actual payments by the NWC amounted to around $13.2 million, representing 31% of the total potential amount. The remaining 69% went unpaid, as many consumers did not submit the required claim forms. In terms of private water and sewerage service providers, the group committed 21 breaches of guaranteed service standards. These breaches attracted potential compensation of approximately $77,000. Actual payouts from these private providers amounted to only $2,900. It represents just 4% of the total potential compensation. The unpaid amounts were primarily due to issues such as accounts billed based on flat rates for premises without meters, lack of access to meters, or the non-submission of claim forms. Through direct investigations of customer appeals and complaints, the OUR secured a total of just over $1,300,000 for consumers. Of this sum, the NWC accounted for 80%, or $1,063,000. The JPS followed with 15%, equivalent to $196,000. The remaining 4%, amounting to $63,000, was attributed to Columbus Communications Limited Flow, CNWJ, also Flow, and Dynamic Environment Management Limited. The remaining 4%, amounting to $63,000, was attributed to Columbus Communications Limited Flow, CNWJ, also Flow, and Dynamic Environmental Management Limited. Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
The government has named a joint select committee of Parliament to review the bill which intends to abolish the British monarch as Jamaica's head of state. The bill, which seeks to make provisions for a president of Jamaica, was tabled in the House of Representatives on Tuesday. In tabling the bill, Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs Marlene Malahoo Fort told the Parliament the document represents the single greatest step in the country's quest for full independence. Shalois Michael reports.
It was a hopeful Marlene Malahoo Fort who told the House on Tuesday that the bill represents a significant step in the first phase of the constitutional reform process. But what are some of the objectives of the 82-page bill?
It has clarified provisions regarding Jamaican citizenship, recognition at the highest level of the Caribbean community, and Jamaica's participation in it. Comprehensive provisions for the office of President of Jamaica as a Republic, including qualifications to hold the office, procedure for appointment, tenure of the office, including removal from office, immunity, and oath. In this regard, it's important to note that for the first time, the Constitution is making provision for the joint sitting of the Senate and the House of Representatives.
The bill also seeks to alter the composition of the Upper House of Parliament. Consideration will be given to representing the views and interests of the diaspora in that chamber.
We will see an expanded Senate to include senators appointed independently of the political parties in the House of Representatives. And in this regard, when appointments are being made in that category, consideration is to be given to the representation of the interest of Jamaican citizens living abroad, commonly referred to as the diaspora interest.
If the Parliament passes the bill, it would also alter the current amendment process for the Constitution and entrench the Electoral Commission of Jamaica in the country's supreme law. The Commission remains the creature of an interim act of Parliament. But despite the minister's hopeful tone, there are real concerns the bill could face significant hurdles. The opposition People's National Party has indicated it will not support the bill without a mechanism to end the country's relationship with the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council. Opposition leader Mark Golding says he is still awaiting a word on a raft of other concerns he has expressed to the government. Shalois Michael for Nationwide News.
Listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
Value Drug Pharmacy offers curbside pickup and delivery of your branded and generic drugs. WhatsApp your prescription to 876-881-6695. The time by Value Drug Pharmacy is
16 minutes after 5.
Rentokil Initial is the expert in pest control, air purification, and hygiene services. Call today 876-926-4236.
The temperature by Rentokil is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 28 out west in Montego Bay.
Continuing the news, the Cabinet has approved the $2 billion emergency road repair project announced by Prime Minister Andrew Holness. Minister with responsibility for works Robert Morgan made the disclosure at the weekly post-Cabinet press briefing at Jamaica House this morning. Minister Morgan said the contracts are expected to be issued before the end of the week. He said main roads will be prioritized under the emergency program. The minister said the National Works Agency will be using the funds as efficiently as possible. Morgan said the emergency approach results from the extended delays in road repairs on account of the persistent rainfall over the past several weeks.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness says Jamaicans can expect to see an influx of affordable housing solutions in the next 2 years.
What has happened in the last 4 years is that the NHT has been concentrating its efforts on developing housing for affordable and low-income solutions. Those housing starts will come to maturity, many of them, in 2025, 2026, and 2027. we must bear in mind that between 2019 and 2022, our housing starts and housing completion was affected by the COVID pandemic. So you're going to see a significant influx of new housing for low-income and affordable housing solutions in the next 2 to 3 years.
The Prime Minister's comments come amid criticisms that the National Housing Trust NHT has failed to fulfill its mandate to build affordable houses for the average Jamaican. Some of the comments were made by the PNP's Lisa Hanna. According to Ms. Hanna, data suggests that the NHT is delivering less than 0.18%, that should be 0.18% of houses or housing completions for the working population. She says this is a stark contrast to the amount of funds being collected from NHT contributors. But Prime Minister Holness says he has already redirected the NHT to deal with this market failure.
There are some projects that really are not economically feasible because of the price points at which they come out. Recently, there has been some discussions in the market about the NHT's rate of completion and the price point at which the NHT is delivering homes. Let me use this opportunity to say that in 2017, I empaneled a committee for a strategic review of the NHT. That committee delivered its report in 2017. And that report has guided the direction of housing policy. We gave a policy directive to the NHT that they should redirect the majority of their funding to affordable housing solutions.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
In regional news, Haiti's main international airport in Port-au-Prince has reopened to commercial flights 1 month after gangs opened fire on planes. According to reporting by the Associated Press, there were no flights Wednesday afternoon, but a test flight was successful. Soldiers and police, bolstered by Kenyan security forces, have boosted security in the area. The airport closed in mid-November after gangs opened fire on a Spirit Airlines flight preparing to land. A flight attendant was struck and suffered minor injuries. Other commercial planes were hit that day, prompting JetBlue and American Airlines to join Spirit in canceling flights to Haiti. A day later, the Federal Aviation Administration banned U.S. airplanes from flying to the Caribbean country for 30 days. The ban remains in place until Thursday.
The head of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI, says he will resign from the post before President-elect Donald Trump takes office next month. Christopher Wray announced his impending departure at an internal FBI meeting on Wednesday. President-elect Trump has publicly signaled his desire to replace Wray with Kash Patel, a longtime loyalist. It was Trump who nominated Wray in 2017 to serve a 10-year term. But he has faced criticism from Republicans during his tenure due to the FBI's investigations into Trump's handling of classified documents after he had left office. Wray also fell out of favor with the president-elect himself. Trump said his resignation is a great day for America.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, the Cabinet has backed Prime Minister Andrew Holness in the latest row over an Integrity Commission report.
And the JLP accuses the Integrity Commission of waging an unrelenting, baseless attack against the Prime Minister.
The OUR says the JPS is liable to pay out close to $200 million for breaches of service standards.
Government names Joint Select Committee to review the bill intended to abolish the British monarch as Jamaica's head of state.
I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Robianne Williams.
You can find the news on our website at nationwideradiogm.com and on the Nationwide app, available on the Google Play and the App Store. News next, the headlines at 6.
Small business owners, this holiday season, Access Financial Services is here to help you create merry money moments. Need a boost to stock up inventory, expand your business, or prepare for the festive rush? We've got you covered with our small business loans. And here's the best part. No payments for up to 1 month. Fast approvals to keep your business moving. Flexible terms tailored just for you. Let Access Financial be your partner in growth and success this holiday season. Visit accessfinanceonline.com or step into your nearest branch today. Access Financial Services, helping your small business make a big impact this Christmas. Conditions apply.
This holiday season, give yourself the gift of a dream washing machine. Buy Speed Queen at Singer from November 15th to December 31st and get the chance to win a washer or dryer in the Speed Queen Dream Clean promotion. Plus, our winner will also get to spread the joy this Christmas and donate a washer to a local children's home. Imagine having more time for what matters most: family, friends, and freedom from laundry worries. Singer and Speed Queen, spreading joy one load at a time. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming, and Lotteries Act.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Good afternoon with your sports report. I'm Alric Swaby. We tip things off with some netball as Wolmer's add the ISA Under-16 All-Ireland title to their list of achievements for 2024 after beating Homewood Technical 37-25 in the final at the Manchester Court today. Goal shooter Kaylin Kendra Smith led the scoring for Wolmer's with 36 goals from 42 attempts. Shirana Brown shot 21 goals in Homewood's losing effort. Coach of Homewood, Colleen Graham Powell, says her players suffered from inexperience.
The Under-16 team really lacked experience. We have some very young persons on the team, people just coming from primary school and stuff like that. So, lack of experience. So, Wolmer's, that set of girls played last year, they came back. So, they did what they had to do. They kept it together. My team crumbled under the pressure, and so they lost it.
Meanwhile, the Christiana-based Homewood beat St. Catherine 43-32 in the Under-19 division. Goal attack Jada Ricketts got 34 goals for Homewood, while Kadeen Gordon got 26 for St. Catherine. Graham Powell says her team was the fitter of the two.
My seniors, they were always going to be a challenge for St. Catherine. I knew what I had. I knew the depth of the senior team. And so I was not worried about my seniors. I knew that we could have pulled it off because of the depth of what we have. 5 of those girls have been winning All-Ireland titles since they were under 16. So they are strong, they are experienced, they have national players there. They have been working together for years now. So I was never, ever worried about my under-19 team. I saw St. Catherine played, and as I said, I was never worried. I knew that my girls are fit. The team is fit, and I know that the town team, they don't know how to run. So I'm not surprised about the margin. I knew that, we had the legs, and so we were always going to, when we win All-Ireland titles, it's always a big margin. So we were not worried.
Colleen Graham Powell. Now to cricket, as the West Indies will be going for a series sweep when they take on Bangladesh in the third and final ODI at Warner Park in St. Kitts tomorrow. The Windies lead the series 2-0 following their 7-wicket win over Bangladesh in Game 2. Assistant coach of the Caribbean side, Floyd Reefer, says consistency will be key to victory.
Being as consistent as possible, trying to group together a lot of deliveries. We talk about putting together the percentages of deliveries in the right areas, and obviously utilizing the short delivery as well. The analyst, Mr. Avinash, he sets up the plans, and the guys just follow the plans to suit.
Floyd Reefer. Veteran cricket commentator Joseph Reds Pereira says coach of the West Indies, Darren Sammy, has a major decision to make when selecting the team for the third and final ODI against Bangladesh on Thursday. The Windies lead the series 2-0. Pereira says it's a decision between ranking points and player exposure.
Well, it's a straightforward decision. Do you want to win 3-0 and pick up some important points, or are you looking to find out the ability of players who have not played in the series so far and want to maybe look at talent and building for the future. I feel that you'll probably play the strongest team possible, but on the other hand, it would be good to see the young left armour from Barbados who did so well in the 50 over, and the informed Jaglu who can also wicket-keep and open the batting. It's a choice, a good choice for Darren Sammy to make.
He says any team selected should have the quality to beat Bangladesh.
It's not 1-1 where you have to play your strongest team ever in the third. But I believe even by using some of the players who have not played, they should be able to beat Bangladesh in the third and final game. Let's wait and see.
Joseph Reds Pereira. And finally in football, the 2034 Men's Football World Cup will be held in Saudi Arabia, while Spain, Portugal and Morocco will be joint hosts for the 2030 tournament, World Governing Body FIFA has confirmed. The 3 matches in the 2030 tournament will also be held in Argentina, Paraguay and Uruguay to make 100 years of the competition. The hosts for both World Cups were confirmed at Wednesday's extraordinary FIFA Congress meeting following a vote. All 211 of FIFA's member nations were represented at the meetings over a video link. The hosts for both tournaments and of the 2030 centenary celebrations were conducted via 2 separate votes. The first confirmed Uruguay, Paraguay and Argentina as the centenary hosts. The second confirmed the 3 hosts for the 2030 as well as Saudi Arabia being awarded the 2034 tournament. I'm Alex Ribby, and that's your sports.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. They almost always have it.
Since 2016, 156,000 more Jamaicans are working. This is more than any other time in our history. Your government is caring for you.
The time brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister is
5:30.
Pay nothing down on a shiny, brand new Hyundai vehicle with free loan payments until March 2025. Yes, get a 2024 Hyundai vehicle and get free loan payments until March 2025. 100% financing, 2 years free service, 0 processing fees, and other sweet goodies. Drive into the new year with your new ride. Goodbye, old car. Hello, Hyundai. 4 free payments promotion. Limited stock available. Offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Public opinion. Stop this foolish about this GLP and PMP business. We are Jamaican. Different people.
It's not a matter of a JLP or a PMP. I think it's more like where it is that you think you're comfortable, what support you can afford to make the country better.
Different views.
Most entertainers, they're not amenable to management, so the only thing that can ultimately structure them is the court and the prison.
Public opinion. The voice of the people at 6:25 p.m. weekdays during Nationwide at 5. Tune into Nationwide at 6:25 p.m. for Public Opinion, where the people's views matter.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Stay ahead of the curve with our cutting-edge reporting and accurate breaking news coverage.
We're having an earthquake. Oh, God.
Hear it here first on Nationwide 90 FM. Tune in, turn up the volume, and listen. We bring a mix of news, entertainment, and sports to your lives.
Nationwide 90 FM's live and continuous coverage of the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary.
News and discussions week mornings.
Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning.
Entertainment in the afternoons, then news again in the evenings.
Nationwide news at this hour. Fired.
Also tune in to the entertainment and sports shows in the nights and on the weekends.
It is Boy Things After Dark right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
Everything is news, from current affairs and entertainment to sports, business and other categories.
Nationwide 90 FM. This is Benjamin. Give it to them. Zaga, Zen.
From every whisper to every commotion.
That's rubbish. The KSAMC cannot investigate itself.
Every news story unfolds here first at Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Every sound is a story, and every story we share is news.
Cover Story is brought to you by Hyundai. Modern, premium, affordable vehicles.
Pay nothing down on a shiny, brand new Hyundai vehicle with free loan payments until March 2025. Yes, get a 2024 Hyundai vehicle and get free loan payments until March 2025. 100% financing, 2 years free service, 0 processing fees, and other sweet goodies. Drive into the new year with your new ride. Goodbye, old car. Hello, Hyundai. Hyundai. For free payments promotion. Limited stock available. Offer while stocks last. Conditions apply.
Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for joining us here on Nationwide at 5. It's time for the cover story. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
How are you, Siobhan?
Doing quite well.
Good. The cover story this afternoon, listeners, we're focusing on a statement issued by the Jamaica Labour Party following the latest public dust-up over an Integrity Commission report that names the Prime Minister. Now, the JLP is condemning the report, alleging irregularities in the development and building approval processes at premises linked to the Prime Minister. And the party says the report is evidence of an unrelenting, baseless and coordinated attack on the Prime Minister's reputation. And that report was tabled in the Parliament yesterday, and it has its genesis in the receipt of a report on July 10 to the Commission alleging planning breaches at a townhouse complex at 2 Wycliffe Close in Beverly Hills.
The Commission said its investigations showed that the complex featured 4-bedroom units when it was only granted approval for 2-bedroom units. The property originally belonged to Prime Minister Holness but was transferred to Estate Bridge, an entity also formerly owned by Mr. Holness. On Wednesday, the JLP said agents within the Integrity Commission have attacked the Prime Minister's reputation without credible basis for the better part of 2 years.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister has expressed deep concern over what he perceives as being unfairly targeted in the latest report from the Commission. In a strongly worded statement, Holness clarified his position, emphasizing that he holds no official connection to the company in question, and he says it's puzzling to him that his name is even mentioned in the latest report. To discuss the matter, we're being joined by spokesperson for the JLP Communication Task Force, Marlon Morgan. We also have with us public commentator Dennis Chung. Just before we get to the gentleman, I want to play for you listeners the report on the statement issued by the JLP. Here's Dana Davey.
The IC's report, tabled in Parliament on Tuesday, had its genesis in the receipt of a report on July 10 alleging planning breaches at a townhouse complex at 2 Wycliffe Close in Beverly Hills. The Commission said its investigations showed that the complex featured 4-bedroom units when it was only granted approval for 2-bedroom units. The property originally belonged to Prime Minister Holness but was transferred to Estate Bridge, an entity also formerly owned by Mr. Holness. On Wednesday, the JLP said agents within the IC have attacked the Prime Minister's reputation without credible basis for the better part of 2 years. Marlon Morgan is a member of the JLP's Communications Task Force.
The Jamaica Labour Party condemns what appears to be unrelenting, baseless, and coordinated attacks by elements within the Integrity Commission on the reputation of Prime Minister and the Jamaica Labour Party leader, Dr. the Most Honourable Andrew Holness, and the duly elected government of Jamaica, which he leads. Thrice in under 2 years, agents within the Integrity Commission have, without credible basis, attacked and effectively maligned the Prime Minister's reputation.
Mr. Morgan referenced 3 separate reports tabled by the Integrity Commission over the past year, which he said have sought to malign the character of Prime Minister Holness. One such report was tabled in February 2023, which suggested that the Prime Minister be charged due to an alleged conflict of interest. Another report, tabled in March this year, suggested that the Prime Minister be investigated for not declaring sums of money in the bank accounts of his parents. That aspect of the report is now the subject of a judicial review. Mr. Morgan says the latest report is potentially the most egregious attack. He posited that while the governing party supports the Integrity Commission as an institution of Parliament, it's constrained to believe it has been hijacked by agents operating with malicious intent towards the Prime Minister.
The Jamaica Labour Party wishes to reaffirm its commitment to contributing to the fight against corruption in Jamaica, which includes the passage of the Integrity Commission Act, the establishment, and indeed the funding of the Integrity Commission. The Jamaica Labour Party insists that the anti-corruption fight should not be sabotaged or undermined in any way, given the bizarre and baseless actions of some agents of the Integrity Commission. Unfortunately, the Jamaica Labour Party is constrained to make public its view that the Commission has been hijacked by a few agents which are acting unfairly, in a biased manner, and manifestly with malice toward Prime Minister Andrew Holness and the government.
Dana Davey for Nationwide News.
Thank you, Dana. We're now being joined by Marlon Morgan and Dennis Chung. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Marlon Morgan, let me start with you. Who are those agents who have hijacked the Integrity Commission?
Well, I will not necessarily get into naming because I repose confidence in the Jamaican people, and the people of Jamaica would have had a particular vantage point over the past 2 years, certainly, to have seen an Integrity Commission Act passed by the Jamaica Labour Party government, led by Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness. They would have seen the Integrity Commission being established by the Holness-led government. They would have seen over successive years increased budgetary support to the IC. So clearly, the Integrity Commission has been set up, but sadly, its commissions and omissions in recent times would cause a number of people to lose confidence in them, and therefore the agents to which we are alluding by way of our press release earlier today, the people of Jamaica would get a clear sense as to those persons who would have withheld certifying the Prime Minister's statutory declarations, referring it to the FID, for example, in circumstances where no established finding has been made as to impropriety or irregularity otherwise on the part of the Prime Minister. There's a particular instructive quote that I'd like to comment to the listeners this evening, gentlemen. Pastor Martin Niemöller from Germany once said, "First they came for the communists, and I did not speak out because I was not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, and I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, and I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me, and there was no one left to speak out for me."
Marlon Morgan.
Point here.
Aren't you fear-mongering this afternoon? You're trying to tell the Jamaican people, watch out, you may be next. Isn't that a bit over the top, Marlon?
It's not over the top. I'm unpacking it, Ricardo. The Integrity Commission may have jurisdiction over licenses and permits to include construction permits. Many ordinary Jamaicans may seek to effect additions to structures that they have, whether it is a house, an apartment, dwelling, you name it. And to the extent that the IC has jurisdiction over that, you may well find that persons, for whatever reason, may lodge a complaint with the Integrity Commission, so much so that you are under an investigation. And as we have seen in the case of the Prime Minister here, even in circumstances where you are not to have been identified as a subject of the probe and have your name dragged in the media, as we saw last evening this time when my phone was ringing off the hook, when a number of WhatsApp messages came into me, ordinary Jamaicans may find themselves in this kind of position because from time to time, as we transact our business, we may dispose of a motor vehicle, we may dispose of a dwelling, and you mean to tell me that because you were previously associated with a particular entity, for example, a company by virtue of holding shares in that company, and that is no longer the case. You may find yourself embroiled in a report that invariably has the effect of lowering you in the estimation of...
Yes, you're telling them, be careful, you may be next. And I'm saying to you, that kind of dramatic escalation in this ongoing impasse, is that wise coming from the governing party? You're telling Jamaicans essentially that this Integrity Commission, by all you've said, you believe it has gone rogue, it has targeted the Prime Minister, and therefore ordinary Jamaicans could be in the cross.
I'm alerting. So first of all, I do not necessarily concur with you that it is an over-the-top observation. What I'm trying to draw attention to, which is the gravamen of the point here, is that this may happen to any parliamentarian, it may happen to any public official, and the truth is the Integrity Commission at this time, based on its actions, have a number of questions to answer, and it would cause many well-thinking Jamaicans to have lost confidence in them. It is now a very polarizing entity, and I shudder to think that this is what we would have envisaged 15 years ago when discussions were at the forefront about creating a single anti-corruption entity. I was there. I would have worked closely with the administration of the Bruce Golding government at the time, and I will recall how this discussion unfolded, how persons would have made submissions and waged their perspectives as to the creation of a single anti-corruption body. And I do not think, gentlemen, all things considered, that any well-thinking Jamaican would have envisaged us being at this point where we're seeing baseless and sustained attacks on the reputation of the Prime Minister in what is obviously a targeted way.
But Mr. Morgan, the Integrity Commission in the report on this matter was quite clear as to the nexus of how this started. They received information in relation to what they understood was to be a property connected to the Prime Minister that was engaged in breaches of certain instructions. And would that not be then a fair target or reason for the Integrity Commission to then be involved in that matter?
There you go. And having undertaken or embarked on the investigation and having gotten to a point where you would have realized that, okay, this is an entity over which the Prime Minister has no direction and control. It is an entity in respect of which the Prime Minister is not a director, he is not a shareholder. That should be situated in your editorializing, in your report. And what is most egregious here, Siobhan, what is most egregious here, right, is that at 2.2.1 in the report, it sets out some reference to some Mr. Holness and an architect that receives instructions from him, and I find that to be particularly damning, and that should not have been situated in this report, because the truth is, any person off the street can pick up the phone or write into the Integrity Commission with all kinds of allegations. The Integrity Commission has a higher standard, has a higher duty to perform in terms of protecting the reputation of people, because you may have somebody making a report that Chevron is embarked on building up an apartment complex that is going to be used in furtherance of human trafficking. That is obviously going to be malicious against Chevron. And how can the Integrity Commission situate this allegation in a report even without any basis to substantiate or corroborate that? It was irresponsible.
Do you accept?
About architect.
Do you accept
it's
that?
It's an allegation. This was an unfounded. This is an allegation that has not been borne out by any fact or evidence.
Do you accept that the stridency of your comments this afternoon and in the statement you issued could serve the purpose of damaging the Integrity Commission in the eyes of the Jamaican people?
I would not accept that, because what I am very clear on in my mind is that the omissions and commissions of the Integrity Commission itself is undoing and undermining the Integrity Commission, and which is why we situate the observation we situated in the JLP's press release. That is, it is remiss that we have actions at present that may serve to undermine the fight against corruption. As I said some seconds ago, it was never envisaged for our premier anti-corruption watchdog and Commission of Parliament to be this polarized, to be this polarizing, and to now be registering in the psyche of many Jamaicans, many well-thinking Jamaicans, as an entity that is out to get the duly elected government of the day.
Hold it there, Foss. You're up on the break. After the break, we'll bring in Dennis Chung.
clearing personal, non-commercial shipments at the port? Avoid the wait. Request a contactless clearance through your agent today. It's more efficient. It's secure. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
5:47.
Label Crafts Jamaica Limited offers exceptional finishes that will make your product extraordinary at an affordable cost. The Temperature, brought to you by Label Crafts Jamaica Limited. The number one choice for label printing is...
It's 30 degrees Celsius here in the capital city, Kingston, and 28 out west in Montego Bay. Welcome back, listeners and viewers, as we discuss the latest report from the Integrity Commission that is touching upon a property in which they found certain breaches of the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporations Act linked to the Prime Minister. But as Mr. Morgan, who is one of our guests, has just said, the property is no longer owned by the Prime Minister. It is owned by the entity Estate Bridge, in which the Prime Minister was a previous shareholder but no longer has any ties to that organization. We also have with us public commentator Dennis Chung, and I'd like to ask you, Dennis, based on the wording of the Integrity Commission's report, do you find, as Mr. Morgan finds, that they have overstepped their authority in terms of their assessment and conclusions?
All right, let me start. I don't think I'm going to be trying it at Marlon, but let me start by saying this and giving you a supporting analogy. So your Manning Cup team, Ricardo, and your Chevron is in our finals, right? And the referee makes decisions that the both of you question. That affects the legitimacy of the acceptance of the outcome of the game. It is important that organizations that oversee matters of corruption or whatever, the Auditor General, whoever, Integrity Commission, that they are like a referee that guides a game, right? So that at the end of the day, and this is the most important thing, that everyone who is watching the game can say, yes, this was a fair game, and the result is fair. The problem that we're facing today, right, and this is something that I pointed out from the initial report, is that when you have a report that does not conclude with facts and evidence that convinces everyone, then you create a problem. And you create a problem not just for the office of the Prime Minister, which all of us as Jamaicans have an interest in, because you're talking about the reputation of Jamaica, but you create a problem for the organization itself and the commission. And, you know, where I come from, when I look at it, I've read most of the report, and the fact of the matter is that if you can't make a compelling evidence to link the Prime Minister to the breach, which it has not done, because...
Yes, clearly it has not linked the Prime Minister to any nefarious action.
No, right. And therefore, it is important that we look at the context and word our reports, or even exclude him from it, right, in arriving at the conclusion. Because you will see that maybe this is not what the report said, you know, but you saw what came out in the press. The initial thing that came out in the press, right? And it's very important for us to get that right? And that's the premise I come from first and foremost, that, you know, can you imagine, right, if someone, and we're not even at the level of the Prime Minister who is supposed to be representing the reputation of the country, right? But someone said something about you that you knew nothing about in a report, and then someone goes and posts it on social media. Oh, Ricardo or Siobhan is involved. You know nothing about it, you know, because you'd have sold the property effectively, right? Your son has reached the age, an adult age, to take it over, right? So you don't necessarily have to know anything about it. And that's the issue I have with it. I think that before such a report comes out, that it needs to have some conclusive evidence that people are convinced that this is a fair game that we've just played. And, I understand the sentiment that, listen, I think the Integrity Commission and organizations like that are very important.
Mm-hmm.
And those organizations, the fact that they exist, has helped Jamaica, right? Because what it has done is ensure that people with power, right, keep their hands on the wheel and ensure that we're driving properly, right? But we also, when you have that sort of authority, that sort of power, there's a great responsibility that comes with it. And as I said, it's not just from an academic point of view that we want to look at reports. We want to look at it within the context of what impact it has. So if you were writing it in a society, right, another society, right, that has no access to social media or nothing like that, you might write it differently. But we know the context of the society we're in. The other thing is that you have to consider that you're writing it within the context of the fact that there's a court matter that's happening, and therefore, when people start doubting the Integrity Commission, they're going to say, I wonder why, if they did it because of so-and-so, right? You remember a few years ago, the first time Donald Trump won, when James Comey came out with his statement, right? And all of us were saying, how could Comey do something like that, not having any conclusive facts, and basically insert himself in a process?
Mm-hmm.
And that is what I think we need to be careful of, because, as I said, when I read the report, it totally was removed from what was in the headlines and the media before that.
But that's why I want to ask you, though, Dennis, is that the fault of the Integrity Commission? Because before we at Nationwide wrote any story, we made sure we read that document, and it was quite clear how the Integrity Commission outlined their findings, stating that the reason why the Prime Minister's name is mentioned is because the process of the real estate deal, so to speak, started while it was still... He was still a member of the board, a member of Estate Bridge, yes. And then it made it clear that he had taken himself away from that shareholder position.
But I'm going to answer it this way, right? When we write, and when I started writing years ago, someone who was an editor for Newsweek, he said to me, Dennis, remember that when you write for the people who are reading.
Mm.
And that's what we always need to understand. And that's why I speak about it in that context, that we must understand the people who are digesting the news. And they're not, most people, Siobhan, and you and Ricardo will know, I did a financial journalism course I was selected to do one years ago. And they said to us, listen, whatever message you want to get across it in the title and the first two paragraphs. Because no one remembers anything after that.
Yeah.
And therefore, what I'm saying is that when I read the report from my perspective, I am someone who has done company law, right? And I know accounting and auditing. I can understand, right? But when it gets out there and then you see the post in the social media and this and that, and, the Paula Llewellyn, when she was DPP on a ruling, wrote something once. She said, we must remember when we are writing our reports that everyone is entitled to their reputation.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you lose that, you can't pick it up again.
Yeah. And so let me ask you, Dennis, then. So do I hear you correctly that you're saying that you do not believe in how the Integrity Commission has conducted itself and handled its business, that it's giving the impression that a fair, even-handed approach is being taken with respect to the Prime Minister?
Well, I say it, I am not going to impute any motive on behalf of the Integrity Commission, because when I read the report, it clearly states the situation, right? But what I'm saying is that we have to always have the emotional intelligence to know that when we write something, it's going to be digested within a context. Mm-hmm. So the context that we're speaking about is a previous report that was there that was much debated, is a court action that's taking place, right? and also the fact that next year is an election. And we have to write things within the consideration of context and what impact when someone is digesting it that it could have. Because when you look at, Nationwide, I think wrote fairly, but when you look at the comments that come from that, 50% of that support one side and 50% another.
Yeah.
Is that what we want as a country? That half of our population does not support an organization and half does? No.
Yeah.
We want as a country that 100% of our population says it was a fair game that was played and we accept the outcome. And that is, once we don't have that outcome coming, it means that we have to look back at what we've done.
Marlon Morgan, is part of the problem you have and why you are so particularly strident on this matter the fact that with the Integrity Commission's, my characterization now, drip approach, that it's creating a political problem for your party heading into a big event next year?
Well, let's just be clear. All well-thinking Jamaicans, to include those of us inside the Jamaica Labour Party, we appreciate that in keeping with its statutory provisions, the Integrity Commission has a duty and a role to perform, and they are unfettered in the discharge of their mandate. So there's no question about that. The idea, though, is that for many of the observations Dennis placed on the table a while ago to inspire optimal levels of public confidence, to ensure that the Jamaican people can be clear in their mind that they have a fit-for-purpose and above-board entity, everyone should be able to repose confidence in the Integrity Commission, and I'm simply pointing out that we are not at that point today having regard to the composite of things. What am I referring to? For example, again, the very allegation that was made by the quote-unquote whistleblower that the Prime Minister does this in relation to an architect that he instructs, that is very much baseless, that is very salacious, and it has the effect of defaming the Prime Minister. So when you see that kind of allegation being situated in a report, instead of being paraphrased to just give the reader the gist of the allegation, rather than setting out the allegation that is just very, salacious and laced with innuendo, it should not be. It does the public a disservice, and it diminishes the Prime Minister in the estimation of the Jamaican people. And as I said before, when you look at the composite, first we had this instance where the Integrity Commission decided to submit a report where there's an indication of prosecution to be made against the PM. And then subsequent to that, it presented the entirety of it, which says there will be no prosecution. That had the effect of causing the Prime Minister to hemorrhage. And so our preoccupation is not so much with an event that is to come. Our preoccupation is with an entity, a commission of parliament, that is mandated to operate in a professional way, doing things that we consider to be contrary to that professional way. For example, when you have essentially a shooting of a member of staff of the Integrity Commission and a media house asking the executive director for comments or asking what has transpired, and he says to the journalist, ask the government that. When asked what does that mean, he then asks the journalist, that is the executive director of the commission, that is, asking the journalist, or saying to the journalist that the journalist must go and ask the government what that means. There was a clear intimation. It suggests that there is some rancor, there is animosity, and it certainly telegraphs.
Is that the kind of comment
that there's a particular mind, something was operating in the mind of the ED, is operating in the mind of the ED? That is just very troubling.
Is that the kind of comment that leads you to say the commission has been hijacked?
That is the kind of comment that we consider to be unprofessional, intemperate, and it strains confidence in the Commission. And so in our view, there are agents, there are elements in the Integrity Commission, I will not name them as I said earlier, but the public, because they repose trust and confidence in the ability and the discernment of the Jamaican people, they will know those persons whose actions or inactions are serving to bring the Integrity Commission into disrepute.
We have to leave it there. Marlon Morgan is a spokesperson for the JLP's Communication Task Force, and Dennis Chung, public commentator. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it as always.
All the best. Good. Thank you.
And just before we go, listeners, just to bring you up to speed with another development, the Prime Minister has written to Television Jamaica his attorneys have, claiming that the station has defamed him.
Yes.
And I will just read the first paragraph because we will not repeat the defamatory comment that is here. The Prime Minister's attorney says, "We act on behalf of the Most Honorable Dr. Andrew Holness, Prime Minister of Jamaica. Our instructions are that on December 10, 2024, Television Jamaica Limited, hereinafter referred to as TVJ, recklessly and maliciously published and broadcast or caused to be published and broadcast on social media, in particular through its online news center page, the following statements." And then it references the statement the Prime Minister deems defamatory.
And it was delivered by hand today to Mr. Milton Walker, Group Head of News and Sports at Television Jamaica Limited.
The Prime Minister is seeking that it be retracted and that the retractions be published on air, in the print media, on social media, and he's given 24 hours for that to happen. It ends by saying, "You will appreciate us, of course, that if we do not hear from you within the time period," that's 24 hours, "we have our client's instructions to commence proceedings for defamation against you." So the Prime Minister indicating to Television Jamaica that he believes he has been defamed by newscasts carried on that station. The headlines are next.
Cover Story was brought to you by Hyundai. Modern, premium, affordable vehicles.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
4 minutes after 6.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. Information Minister Dr. Dana Morris Dixon has asserted the Cabinet's full support for Prime Minister Andrew Holness amid public controversy over the latest report from the Integrity Commission.
The Prime Minister was very clear in his statement, and the report was tabled yesterday in the House. I have not had a chance to go through it, and so I know we'll be reviewing it throughout the course of the day. But the Prime Minister's statement was very clear. He said many things. He thought that this was a transparent attempt at attacking his character. He was very clear on that. And I know that we in the Cabinet, we stand with the Prime Minister on this matter. And these are definitely matters that are before the court. And so I try not to speak about matters that are before the court. But the Prime Minister in his statement was very clear that he was not a director. He's not a shareholder, and he doesn't own the property.
The Information Minister says she is growing tired of seeing the Prime Minister's reputation being under constant attack.
All of these things that we've seen where we are lauded around the world for, especially in terms of our economy, that was all done under the leadership of the Most Honorable Dr. Andrew Holness. This is an individual who has given his life to really supporting Jamaica in our dream of becoming a country that is seen as meeting its potential. I see someone who is working really hard for our country, and who I see his reputation being tarnished month after month after month.
Dr. Dana Morris Dixon, Information Minister. Meanwhile, the JLP has condemned the recent Integrity Commission report alleging irregularities in the development and building approval processes at premises linked to the Prime Minister. Marlon Morgan is a member of the JLP's Communication Task Force.
The Jamaica Labour Party condemns what appears to be unrelenting, baseless, and coordinated attacks by elements within the Integrity Commission on the reputation of Prime Minister and the Jamaica Labour Party leader, Dr. the Most Honourable Andrew Holness, and the duly elected government of Jamaica, which he leads. Thrice in under 2 years, agents within the Integrity Commission have, without credible basis, attacked and effectively maligned the Prime Minister's reputation.
Marlon Morgan, member of the JLP's Communication Task Force. The government has named a joint select committee of Parliament to review the bill which intends to abolish the British monarch as Jamaica's head of state. The bill was tabled on Tuesday by Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs, Marlene Mallow Ford.
It has clarified provisions regarding Jamaican citizenship, recognition at the highest level of the Caribbean community, and Jamaica's participation in it. Comprehensive provisions for the office of President of Jamaica as a Republic, including qualifications to hold the office, procedure for appointment, tenure of the office, including removal from office, immunity, and oath. In this regard, it's important to note that for the first time, the Constitution is making provision for the joint sitting of the Senate and the House of Representatives.
The bill also seeks to alter the composition of the upper house of Parliament. Consideration will be given to representing the views and interests of the diaspora in that chamber.
We will see an expanded Senate to include senators appointed independently of the political parties in the House of Representatives. And in this regard, when appointments are being made in that category, consideration is to be given to the representation of the interest of Jamaican citizens living abroad, commonly referred to as the diaspora interest.
Marlene Mallow Ford, Minister of Legal and Constitutional Affairs. Cabinet has approved the emergency road repair project announced by Prime Minister Andrew Holness. Minister with responsibility for work, Robert Morgan, made the disclosure during Wednesday's post-cabinet media briefing.
Recently, the Prime Minister announced an emergency road repair program of $2 billion. I can announce that Cabinet has approved that program on Monday, and we expect contracts to be issued to the contractors before the end of the week so that we can start doing the work, since we have seen some signs in some areas that the rains have abated to some extent, though we had the rains yesterday in Kingston. And we also had in Clarendon as well. But there are some areas of the country where the rains have taken a break. We're going to use that window to repair the roads.
Robert Morgan, Minister with responsibility for works. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the Jamaicans can expect to see an influx of affordable housing solutions in the next 2 years.
What has happened in the last 4 years is that the NHT has been concentrating its efforts on developing housing for affordable and low-income solutions. Those housing starts will come to maturity, many of them, in 2025, 2026, and 2027. We must bear in mind that between 2019 and 2022, our housing starts and housing completion was affected by the COVID pandemic. So you're going to see a significant influx of new housing for low-income and affordable housing solutions in the next 2 to 3 years.
The Prime Minister's comments come amid criticisms that the National Housing Trust, NHT, has failed to fulfill its mandate to build affordable houses for the average Jamaican. Mr. Holness says he has already redirected the NHT to deal with this market failure.
There has been some discussions in the market about the NHT's rate of completion and the price point at which the NHT is delivering homes. Let me use this opportunity to say that in 2017, I empaneled a committee for a strategic review of the NHT. That committee delivered its report in 2017. And that report has guided the direction of housing policy. We gave a policy directive to the NHT that they should redirect the majority of their funding to affordable housing solutions.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Shaloy Smichael. Sports is next.
millions of stretch $1 for the Christmas. You want to know the money when me give them and look on the amount of paint me get.
Stretch your dollar at Sherwin-Williams this Christmas with 18% off select decorative paint from November 25 to December 21.
Sherwin-Williams get all of this from? You know long more paint my house? This can't miss me.
Hurry to any of our 23 stores island-wide. You don't want to miss this amazing offer. Conditions apply.
Is your money idling when it could be thriving? With CIBC Caribbean's fixed deposit offering, you can take charge of your cash. With 50,000 Jamaican to start, choose terms from 30 days to 2 years. Lock in your funds and enjoy premium rates guaranteed to grow your wealth. Whether you're eyeing short or long-term gains, our fixed deposit accounts puts you firmly in control of your money. Now is the time to open a CIBC fixed deposit account and start earning more today. CIBC, ambitions made real.
Good evening with your sports report. I'm Alric Swaby. We tip things off with some netballers. Wolmer's add the ISA Under-16 All-Ireland title to their list of achievements for 2024 after beating Homewood Technical 37-25 in the final at the Manchester Court today. Goal shooter Kaylin Keandra Smith led the scoring for Wolmer's with 36 goals from 42 attempts. Shirana Brown shot 21 goals in Homewood's losing effort. Coach of Homewood, Caroline Graham Powell, says her players suffered from inexperience.
The Under-16 team really lacked experience. We have some very young persons on the team, people just coming from primary school and stuff like that. So, lack of experience. So, Wolmer's, that set of girls played last year, they came back. So, they did what they had to do. They kept it together. My team crumbled under the pressure, and so they lost it.
Meanwhile, the Christiana-based Homewood beat St. Catherine 43-32 in the Under-19 division. Goal attack Jada Ricketts got 34 goals for Homewood, while Kadeen Gordon got 26 for St. Catherine. Graham Powell says her team was the fitter of the two.
My seniors, they were always going to be a challenge of St. Catherine. I knew what I had. I knew the depth of the senior team. And so I was not worried about my seniors. I knew that we could have pulled it off because of the depth of what we have. 5 of those girls have been winning All-Ireland titles since they were under 16. So they are strong, they are experienced, they have national players there. They have been working together for years now. So I was never, ever worried about my under-19 team. I saw St. Catherine played, and as I said, I was never worried. I knew that my girls are fit. The team is fit, and I know that the town team, they don't know how to run. So I'm not surprised about the margin. I knew that, we had the legs, and so we were always going to, when we win All-Ireland titles, it's always a big margin. So we were not worried.
Colin Graham Powell. Now to cricket, as the West Indies will be going for a series sweep when they take on Bangladesh in the third and final ODI at Warner Park in St. Kitts tomorrow. The Windies lead the series 2-0 following their 7-wicket win over Bangladesh in Game 2. Assistant coach of the Caribbean side, Floyd Reefer, says consistency will be key to victory.
Being as consistent as possible, trying to group together a lot of deliveries. We talk about putting together the percentages of deliveries in the right areas, and obviously utilizing the short delivery as well. The analyst, Mr. Avinash, he sets up the plans, and the guys just follow the plans to suit.
Floyd Reefer. Now, veteran cricket commentator Joseph Reds Pereira says coach of the West Indies, Darren Sammy, has a major decision to make when selecting the team for the third and final ODI against Bangladesh on Thursday. The Windies lead the series 2-0. Pereira says it's a decision between ranking points and player exposure.
Well, it's a straightforward decision. Do you want to win 3-0 and pick up some important points? Or are you looking to find out the ability of players who have not played in the series so far and want to maybe look at talent and building for the future? I feel that you'll probably play the strongest team possible, but on the other hand, it would be good to see the young left armour from Barbados who did so well in the 50 over, and the informed Jaglu who can also wicket keep and open the batting. It's a choice a good choice for Darren Sammy to make.
He says any team selected should have the quality to beat Bangladesh.
It's not 1-1 where you have to play your strongest team ever in the third. But I believe even by using some of the players who have not played, they should be able to beat Bangladesh in the third and final game. Let's wait and see.
Fred Pereira. West Indies players DeAndre Dottin and Chanel Henry are among 120 cricketers listed for the Women's Premier League WPL Players Auction in Bangalore on December 15. Dottin entered the auction for over $67,000, while Henry will be going for over $35,000. The auction promises to set the stage for an electrifying season of cricket as franchises vie for the brightest talents from around the globe. The auction list features 91 Indian players and 29 international stars, including 3 emerging talents from associate nations. With only 19 slots up for grabs, the competition will be fierce. Franchises have 5 reserved spots for overseas players, making every decision at the auction table crucial. The 2034 Men's Football World Cup will be held in Saudi Arabia, while Spain, Portugal and Morocco will be joint hosts for the 2030 tournament, world governing body FIFA has confirmed. 3 matches in the 2030 tournament will also be held in Argentina, Paraguay and Uruguay to mark 100 years of competition. The hosts for both World Cups were confirmed at Wednesday's extraordinary FIFA Congress meeting following a vote. All 211 of FIFA's member nations were represented at the meeting over a video link. The hosts for both tournaments and of the 2030 centenary celebration were conducted via 2 separate votes. The first confirmed Uruguay, Paraguay and Argentina as the centenary hosts. The second confirmed the 3 hosts for 2030, as well as Saudi Arabia being awarded the 2034 tournament. Now to motorsports, as race car driver Damar Lee was crowned overall champion of the recent Rally Rampage at Spot Valley Raceway in Montego Bay. The event, hosted by Montego Bay Racing Association, brought down the curtains on the Jamaica's rally season. Lee, driving his Subaru Impreza, won with an exceptional time of 13 minutes 27 seconds and 92 milliseconds, taking top honors in the JN8 class. His precision and speed set the tone for a day filled with remarkable performances across all 6 competitive classes. Other class winners include Jonathan Graham, Jordan Powell, Jason King, and Omari Paragon Singh. And finally, in cycling, it's all system go for the final race meet of the year for the Elevation Cycling Club on December 15. The club's acting president, Alton Duhaney, says cyclists from the club and all across the island will converge at the Mineral Heights to Jamalco Circuit in Maypen, Clarendon to battle for top honors in several categories.
All the big name cyclists from in the island locally. So you have like the national youth champion will be there. That's Jaquan Dixon. We have the former champion Jerome Forrest, also Ramsey. Ramsey is the current champion now. We have the elite, we have the masters, super masters, the juniors, also include the females. So this year what to do now, we incorporate the R-comers and the BMX riders and also kiddies cyclists as well, because we cater for the upcoming cyclists.
There will be cash prizes for the top 3 in all categories, while the winner of the feature race is set to pocket $60,000. Duane says this is a race no Jamaican will want to miss.
The quality of cyclists we have right now is really something to see. It's going to be exciting because we know cycling is on the rebound right now. So we have more cyclists. They really step up their game now. So it will be really interesting to see. It's going to be an exciting event. It's going to be a lot of fun. I really encourage members to come out and really support the riders.
Alton Duhaney, I'm Alric Swaby, and that's your sports.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is
6:21.
Gun violence must stop. It needs to stop. Be the change, not the chain. Let's end gun violence now. Let's all live good.
A message from the Ministry of National Security.
Want to reduce your high electricity bills? Then Peak Energy has the solution for you. From grid-tied to hybrid solar inverters with full lithium-ion battery pack. Installation and maintenance packages available. Visit us at Shop 1, 3 Mosquito Valley Road, Red Hill, St. Andrew. Call 876-279-8820 or 944-0668. Or email us at peakenergysolutionsja@gmail.com. Peak Energy for everything solar.
Come to Frame Art Jamaica Limited for your one-stop framing, graphic design, and printing needs. We frame photos, certificates, paintings, t-shirts, and so much more. We print banners and print on canvas. You can also get high-quality prints and framing done in a quick turnaround time to fit your budget. Visit Frame Arts Jamaica at 22C Old Hope Road, Kingston 5, Monday through Saturday, 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Call us at 876-929-3058 or visit us at info@frameartjamaica.com. Serving you for more than 30 years.
Are you ready to turn your sales and marketing skills into high earnings? Nationwide 90 FM is searching for business development executives to build lasting client relationships. If you have experience across all stages of the sales cycle and possess strong communication, negotiation, and time management skills with a proven sales track record, this opportunity is perfect for you. Join our team and work with the top corporate brands, media agencies, and of course, our on-air personalities. Enjoy networking opportunities, professional growth, and competitive commissions. Ready to take the next step? Send your resume to hr@nationwidenewsnetwork.com today.
Public Opinion is brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to Public Opinion. I'm Mahiri Stewart. A special good evening to our YouTubers. We invite you to also weigh in live in the comment section on today's Public Opinion. All right, so Prime Minister Andrew Holness says he's concerned that he's being targeted following a new report from the Integrity Commission alleging that a company linked to him has breached building permits. Prime Minister Holness says he's troubled by the way in which the Commission is exercising its powers. Now, this is because on Tuesday, the Integrity Commission revealed findings of an investigation it conducted regarding the Prime Minister. Now, a company that was formerly owned by the Prime Minister came under scrutiny for breaches of the Building Act and violations of terms outlined in a building permit that was issued by the KSAMC. The investigation, was triggered following the receipt of a report alleging irregularities in the development and building approval processes at a townhouse complex under construction in Beverly Hills. And in response to this report, Prime Minister Holness issued a statement stating that he believed he was being unfairly targeted by the anti-corruption body. So in Public Opinion this evening, we're asking you, the public, what is your reaction to the Prime Minister suggesting that he's being targeted by the Integrity Commission? We're going to start on X today. That's where we're going to start. Hopefully the YouTubers are answering the question as I speak so that I can check them later. We're going to get to the YouTubers later, but let's go over to X. So the first comment we have here is from Alex Mowat. He says it couldn't be any more obvious. It's crazy that anyone could question if the Prime Minister is being targeted when you go out of your way to word reports in a manner that may confuse. You may have an agenda. Andre Lawrence says, yes, the PM has clearly been targeted by the IC commissioners. It's so evident that even the blind can see it and the dumb are talking about it. Grace Davidson says if he wasn't involved, his name would not be in the report. He needs to get his act together. It's either he runs the country or go run the business. Church Girl says it does feel very targeted, especially how they time their publications. All right? What else we have here? CMAC says it's the truth. It's clear as day. Each report has turned up nothing, yet the IC continues to go after the PM. They normally take years to conclude an investigation, yet this one was done in 6 months. Request King says 3 reports within 2 years referring the Prime Minister without any charges is an overkill and reasonable. Yeah. Is overkill. Fair enough. Jay Brown says, I have been saying this for a long time. What else we have here? CJ says the PM is definitely being targeted and the IC seems to have a personal vendetta against him. What else we have here? It's plain as day, the rule of thumb, some people in society frown on a non-uptown youth get progressive and start making some butter. That's DA. Not Lot's wife says, I am beginning to feel the same way. All right. William says Andrew Holness is not telling the truth and is covering up everything. What else we have here? The IC trying to create as much distrust as they can for the PM, says DJ1. And yeah, that's what we have so far for X. Let's take a look at Instagram now for what folks are saying over there. Nationwide 90 FM on Instagram. We got 21 comments. Let's see if we can go through. Richie says, regardless of your politics, it's clear that certain members of the IC have an agenda against the PM. Donovan says, we the citizens of this country have been saying this a long time, the way how the IC and commissioners have been carrying out its affairs. It's clear they are trying to put a bullseye on the PM's back. Michael Raffington says, I believe he's being targeted. Comfortable Boris on Instagram says, them too much now, I'm tired of IC. Keys to the City JA says it's the PM who's targeting the Integrity Commission and preventing them from doing their lawful duties. What else we have here? Chris Let Go Frozen says it's glaringly obvious there have been so many instances the public trust in them has been broken. What's this? Wevon Senchoy says even Stevie Wonder can see that he's being targeted. All right. Sensational Simmer says 200% truth. Will Ryan Wilson says the PM needs to respect that he's not above the law. His actions and inactions have caused him to be in these conditions. And Boss Lady says the PM took too long to figure out that he's being targeted by the Integrity Commission. We are tired of the IC trying to tarnish the PM's reputation. So we did X, we did Instagram. Let's go over to Facebook. What are people saying over on Facebook? The question of the day is, what's your reaction to the Prime Minister suggesting that he's being targeted by the Integrity Commission? So if we go over to Facebook, how many comments do we have over here? Here we are. All right, so over on Facebook, I see 79 comments. We can't go through all of these, man. Rastafari says the PM thinks he's above the law. He's of the view that because he's the PM, they should overlook his actions. Every parliamentarian and government official went through the same process. The difference is that they are above board. Elorita Mitchell says the blind can see it, PNP strategy. What else we have here? Anthony Sheikh says, of course the PM is being targeted. What else we have here? Salome Paul says, all the reports they have published to date cannot categorically pinpoint the PM of any wrongdoing. They were tasked with the job to find evidence and bring the individual to answer the charges, yet they failed. Don Barnett says the PM is 100% correct. The IC is being exposed. And Prince Wellington says whining isn't going to change the argument. Bring forth his defense and show us that the Integrity Commission is deliberately doing so and is not doing their job as mandated, because nobody is above the law. Ade Donna says, yes, he's being targeted by the IC. Headley Thomas says, this Prime Minister does not respect the rules and laws of the country. What do we have here? Karen Gordon says, even Ray Charles can see that the PM is being targeted. So that's what we have so far on social media platforms. Let's take a look at YouTube. What are YouTubers saying? What are the YouTubers saying? All right, so we start with Marsha. Marsha S says the Prime Minister is not above the law. Denzel Crawford says the Integrity is the Prime Minister's downfall. He's trying to dance around the criminality. What else we have here? No, I can't read that. What do we have here? Scrolling up. Kevin says the Integrity Commission is doing their job. If we keep going through, what do we have here? what of these can I read? Remember, folks, the question is, what's your reaction to the Prime Minister suggesting that he's being targeted by the Integrity Commission? Dahlia Shirley says, the blind can see that he's being targeted. Karen Smith says, it's clear as day that he is being targeted. Willow Will says, Mahiri, it's a resounding yes. Marsha Bunny says, yes, he's being targeted. Maureen Price agrees. She says, yes, he is. All right. And M-Gem says, some of these comments are evil. Oddly Bernard says, yes, he's being targeted. P says, yes, he's being targeted. Bali says, it's clear, Mahiri. 4 years and they can't recommend any charges on the PM. Tanya Jones says, yes. Let's see. Richard Smith believes that someone in high possession has something against the Prime Minister. Maxine Anderson says, yes, he's being targeted. Everton Williams says yes. Samantha Gordon says yes. Cherry Berry says more than clear. So, yeah, it seems as though majority of folks think that, or rather, it seems as though majority of the comments I've read so far, let me go with that, seem that they are on the side of the Prime Minister. However, when I read on X and even some of the earlier YouTube comments I saw here, it seems as though some people are saying, no, it's not being targeted. That's just the process. So it's not half and half. I think it's a majority of folks saying that they're on the PM's side, a couple people on the other side saying, yes, the Prime Minister needs to just follow the law. So that's where we're at so far. That's public opinion for you guys today. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you. What is it? Grounded on the Tarmac says, call it Mahiri. Call it Mahiri. Cliff win the popular vote. All right. So that's what we have, folks. That's public opinion for today. Stay tuned. It's time for the business report. Let's go.
Public opinion was brought to you by Cleasing Industrial Supplies Limited, Industrial Automation and Control Solutions.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is...
It is 6:33.
Annual eye examinations not only assess your vision but may be life-saving. Eye tests may detect serious health issues that go beyond your vision. Call IQ Optical to schedule your comprehensive eye test today.
The temperature by IQ Optical is...
It's 29 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Nationwide's Business Report. I'm Mahiri Stewart. Donut chain Krispy Kreme says it has been hit by a cyber attack which has disrupted its online systems. Customers in the US have been unable to make online orders as a result of the hack, which occurred in late November but has only just been disclosed. Krispy Kreme revealed the attack in a regulatory filing with the US Securities and Exchanges Commission, SEC, on Wednesday. It said the incident was reasonably likely to have a material impact on the firm's business operations, but clarified that brick-and-mortar shops remain open. No groups have publicly taken responsibility for the hack. Krispy Kreme is a large chain in the US which has more than 1,400 shops worldwide. And finally, in the currency markets, at the close of trading today, it cost 156 Jamaican dollars and 96 cents to buy $1. It cost 199 Jamaican dollars and 95 cents to buy £1 British pound and 110 Jamaican dollars and 93 cents to buy the Canadian dollar. That's the business report. I'm Mahiri Stewart. Good evening.
Are you ready for real rewards this Christmas? Reel in big cash prizes and big appliances with Rainforest Real Rewards. On now at supermarkets island-wide. Enter to win cash prize of $500,000 or a stove or fridge. Any 2 Rainforest products, including shrimp, and enter online or WhatsApp between November 1 and December 15. Each receipt is an entry. Enter as many times as you want. This Christmas, win real rewards. Only with Rainforest. Authorized by the PGLC. Terms and conditions apply.
I only have Hanes.
Make yourself comfortable in authentic Hanes underwear. Nothing beats the never out of style ultra soft 100% premium cotton Hanes underwear. Hanes Comfort Fit V, crew neck and A shirts, absorbent Hanes socks, Comfort Flex Hanes boxer briefs for men, and stylish itch-free Hanes underwear for women and kids. Make yourself comfortable this holiday season, inside, out, and underneath with Hanes underwear for that cool all-day comfort everyone deserves.
I only have Hanes for you.
For the Fosridge Christmas in November sale. Shop from November 24 to December 5 and save on chandeliers, wall lamps, ceiling fans, and LED bulbs. It's cold outside, so ask about our solar water heaters. It's the Fosridge Christmas in November sale. November 24 to December 5. It's a Fosridge.
Who shops at Creative Building Finishes? You, the homeowner who creates luxurious spaces with our floor and wall tiles. The contractor and builder who are convinced that our ceramic tiles are right for the job. The architect and designer who make dreams come true with our wood look and porcelain tiles. Superior customer service, knowledgeable staff, inviting showroom, and you get where this is going, right? Shop 5 Red Hills Road or call 876-929-5553. Get tiles, get Creative Building Finishes.
Are you ready to turn your sales and marketing skills into high earnings? Nationwide 90FM is searching for business development executives to build lasting client relationships. If you have experience across all stages of the sales cycle and possess strong communication, negotiation, and time management skills with a proven sales track record, this opportunity is perfect for you. Join our team and work with the top corporate brands, media agencies, and of course, our on-air personalities. Enjoy networking opportunities, professional growth, and competitive commissions. Ready to take the next step? Send your resume to hr@nationwidenewsnetwork.com today.
Taboo topics, bulletins after dusk,
riveting discussions,
celebrity news and interviews,
topics that are shunned by society,
and everything else in between. Boyatings After Dark with Kareem Boyatings each and every Wednesday, 8 to 11 p.m. Boyatings After Dark. No topic is too taboo or hard to discuss. Come get your mind blown and your curiosity explored. Boyatings After Dark.
Tune in to Nationwide 90FM, the new revolution in media. Stay ahead of the curve with our cutting-edge reporting and accurate breaking news coverage.
We're having an earthquake. Oh, God.
Hear it here first on Nationwide 90FM. Tune in, turn up the volume, and listen. We bring a mix of news, entertainment, and sports to your lives.
Nationwide 90FM's live and continuous coverage of the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary.
News and discussions week mornings.
Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning.
Entertainment in the afternoons, then news again in the evenings.
Nationwide news at this hour, fired.
Also, tune into the entertainment and sports shows in the nights and on the weekends.
It is Boyatings After Dark right here on Nationwide 90FM.
Everything is news, from current affairs and entertainment to sports, business, and other categories.
Nationwide 90FM. This is Beanie Man. Give it to them. Zaga, Zen.
From every whisper to every commotion.
That's rubbish. The KSAMC cannot investigate itself.
Every news story unfolds here first at Nationwide 90FM, the new revolution in media. Every sound is a story, and every story we share is news.
Nation's Business is brought to you by BH Paints. Paint it, love it with BH Paints.
Good evening to you. Thank you so much for staying with us and joining us. If you're just joining us here on Nationwide at 5, it's time for the Nation's Business. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
We're turning our attention now to the scenes we saw outside the offices of the Jamaica Gleaner. The staff there protested in front of the offices on Wednesday. Now, we reported yesterday that the staff were restive over the company's decision not to pay retroactive and salary increases due this month, hoisting placards, some of which read "Release the funds" and "Slavery Days Done" from 1834. The group chanted "No money, no work."
Hey,
the staff at the Jamaica Gleaner, they're chanting, "No money, no work." Some staff members at the country's oldest newspaper are represented by the Union of Technical, Administrative and Supervisory Personnel, that's UTASP. The union's head, St. Patrice Ennis, told our news center on Tuesday that there was uncertainty about operations at the newspaper, or how operations of the newspaper will proceed in the coming days due to the matter. He joins us now. Good evening, Sir Patrice Ennis.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So, St. Patrice Ennis, has the matters been at least settled? Have you spoken to the management of the newspaper? Have there been any arrangements made?
Just now, about 30 or so minutes ago, we just managed to eke out an agreement, having spent a few hours as I was there during the protest action. And so the management called us in and said they would like to talk. And of course we obliged, and they had the discussion, and out of the discussion we managed to arrive at an agreement. And so the workers are now back on the job.
What's the agreement that was reached?
Well, as you know, the company had indicated yesterday that there will be no payment, as you have reported, of the agreed increases from our heads of agreement, and the retroactive amounts will not be paid either. What is even more egregious is that the company did not indicate a time when they believe such payments could be made. And of course, that made the workers restive since yesterday. And today it culminated in the industrial action or the protest action that you saw earlier. The agreement encompasses that the company will implement the agreed increases on salary for the years 2023 to 2024 and 2024 to 2025. They will implement the percentile or the percentage increase that we agreed upon. They will also pay a one-off lump sum in the December period, and they'll also pay 30% of the retroactive amounts. The balance will be paid in the January pay cycle, 2025 pay cycle. The company has indicated to us that they have lost over $500 million in the last year, and so they are really stretched for cash or monies. But the workers, with that kind of argument and with the discussion, we agreed on the compromise, and that is to pay implement the full salary, the lump sum payment, 1 week of signing of what you would call a bonus payment, which is something that the company traditionally do. It's not really a bonus because if you're talking about a loss, but it's a tradition that the company has done over the years, and they've decided to pay it also. And so that is what we have agreed to pay, and the balance to be paid in the January pay cycle.
St. Patrice Ennis, I've always wondered in situations like this, when you know a company is in a very difficult financial situation, is it fair on the part of the unions to push a situation where the end result could mean that the company goes under and people do not have jobs at the end of the day? Where do you find a proper compromise in that situation where you want to ensure that the entity remains solvent so that the employers can continue to collect a paycheck, but you do want to push for their rights as well?
Are you saying this is such a situation?
I'm just speaking generally. I don't know. I don't have an understanding of the books at the Gleaner Company.
What you are indicating if that is what is obtained in this situation.
But even in this situation where, as you said, the Gleaner said that it has suffered a major loss, $500 million.
I don't know what is the true situation. Neither do we. If the company has a situation, it would be prudent for the company to tell us during the period of negotiation that we are having difficulty. At no point did the company indicate to us that they will not pay us. They know what they were agreeing to. They know that when you agree to something, you are expected to pay. once you make such an agreement, we did not coerce them into the amount they would agree. It's an agreement. And so the expectation that once you make such an agreement and you have arrived at these amounts, that it will be paid in the next pay cycle. If there is a difficulty, then one would expect that such difficulties would be communicated, and then the parties could sit down and arrive at some understanding. That wasn't done, so I don't understand your question.
Okay.
You must be a happy man then, and I imagine the staff members are pleased because this protest action really has gotten them, well, certainly some ways of what they wanted.
It has brought some result, not the complete thing, because workers are not unreasonable persons. For persons to suspend their contractual employment, as it is often referred to embark on protest action in furtherance of whatever cause it is, that requires some guts, and and it's a difficult decision to make. Now, if the company had indicated or said to us that, look, we are having difficulty, we would have engaged them in such discussion, but at no point, as I've said earlier. But also, the company knows that we were trying to expedite and conclude the negotiation because we wanted to meet the December pay cycle. And for doing so, and operating in that posture, we believe we left a lot of things on the table that we could have better argued if we had waited a little bit longer and let the negotiation, run its, true course. But because we want the matter to be concluded, as you know, this is a Christmas period and persons are expected to spend a little bit differently. During this period, persons wanted the matter concluded and instructed the union to do so. And we did, and the company went along with us. And so the expectation is that we would be paid during this December. And just to tell us yesterday, after we signed more than a week ago, just to tell us yesterday that you will not pay us or we will not receive such payment, and you can't indicate when, that is not acceptable.
And is that kind of posture unusual in the time that you've been serving the staff members as their union representative? Is that kind of posture unusual from the Gleaner?
It is unusual with any company at all in Jamaica. I've never seen anything like that before. And I've been doing this for over 20 years, and persons have been doing it before me. We don't know of such things. When you conclude, we agree, look, if you know that you're having we say the effective date is such, the implementation date is such. If you know you can't pay all or you don't have the cash, we will say, look, we can pay this allowance at a particular period. That's what you do. If you say nothing, then the expectation is that payment will be made as is customary during the next pay cycle.
Yeah. All right. So the way forward, workers back on the job, you expect that the situation will be normal for the rest of the week?
We expect, yes, the workers is back on the job, and we have included a clause, no victimization on either side, because while we are protesting, we understand there were some managers who obviously don't know nothing about industrial relations, telling workers that they are going to lose their jobs and all. That's nonsense. So we made sure we include those clauses, communicated to the CEO that we would not want any such actions to take place or any form of victimization. And so we expect them to carry through on what they have agreed upon.
All right.
And going forward, Mr. St. Patrice Ennis, when is the next negotiating period set for between the Gleaner and your union?
Okay. It is the new contract period begins in April 2025. So you see, we are now in December, so it's just a few months away. Because what we settled was the 23 to 24. The contract period runs from April to March, almost like the fiscal year. And so it was April to March, that's 2023 to 2024, and April to March 2024 to 2025. So it's it ends March 2025, and the new contract period begins April 1, 2025.
And I suspect during that new contract negotiation period, these matters in terms of the $500 million loss that Gleaner says it's suffering and other tangential issues will most likely come to the fore.
Well, the loss, we will hear about, because the Gleaner's year would be from, that would be the losses for the 2024 to 2025 period. I believe when we begin the negotiation for the 2025 to 2026 period, we will be hearing what took place in the 2024 to 2025 period. I think the loss was for 2023-2024 period. So I think when we begin negotiation, we will be hearing what is the loss, if there's a loss, or what was the performance of the Gleaner in the 2024 to 2025 period.
St. Patrice Ennis, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. All the best.
Same to you, my brother. Thanks.
All right. St. Patrice Ennis there representing workers at the Gleaner who staged a protest this morning over the matter of salaries, retroactive and salary increases that were due. There's been resolution now, and Mr. Ennis says he expects that the normal operations will continue for the rest of the week heading into January. We take the break, come back with more.
Payroll made simple and secure. Get automated with BizPay, an integrated payroll and HR solution powered by MC Systems. Contact them today. The time by MC Systems is
6:53.
KFC festive feast for the holidays. Full of power with my friends and my family. KFC bucket of the flavor. Something for everybody, time for we celebrate. 12 piece of chicken so delicious. Fries, biscuits, coleslaw, mashed potatoes. And the Pepsi. Crunch the holiday with KFC. It's the festive feast for you and
Crunch the holidays with the KFC festive feast. 12 pieces of delicious chicken, sides, and a 2-liter Pepsi. Try our new KFC dessert biscuits. KFC, it's finger licking good.
Shop and win a mega kitchen from Megamart. Spend $6,000 or more before GCT at any Megamart location and fill out the entry form provided for a chance to win a brand new stove, fridge, and microwave this Christmas from Appliance Traders Limited. Visit us on social media to win monthly prizes courtesy of Lasco, Grace Foods, and Facey Commodity Company Limited. Promotion runs from September 30 to December 6th. Shop now to win a mega kitchen from Megamart. The best value by far. Conditions apply. Must be 18 years or older to enter. Authorized under Section 58.3 of the Betting, Gaming, and Lotteries Act.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. We are getting reports of the discovery of weapons and ammunition at the Kingston Wharves. We are checking on that for you. And so soon as we have some concrete information to share, we will do that. But the preliminary reports we're getting is that there's been a cache of weapons and ammunition discovered at a section of the Kingston Wharves. We're waiting to confirm just how many guns, have been recovered. And so soon as we have that information, we'll bring it to you. It's time for Siobhan's favorite segment. Oh, Dana says, not yet time for your favorite segment, Siobhan.
What's that? Think like a stockbroker?
No,
I think that's on a season break right now.
It's the Watchman. The YouTubers are reacting to all that's been in the news. I saw them earlier actively engaged during that conversation with Marlon Morgan and Dennis Chung. What did you make of the sort of strident response from Marlon?
I have to be fair to Mr. Morgan. I understand that the political pressure has been placed on the Prime Minister based on the string of Integrity Commission reports that have come out. So I see where he's coming from. But I can entertain what Dennis Chung has said, that he's right. The wording of a report has to be done in such a way that it leaves no doubt in the mind of an average person as to what your findings are. And based on the findings of that Integrity Commission report, you really have to read it to understand where they're coming from in terms of what their proposals are and what the information they actually gleaned from the investigation is. It's not quite clear if you just read the executive summary and the headlines.
Yeah. I think my point on this whole matter is, I take the point of doing justice and doing it fairly and in an even-handed manner. And I think where the Integrity Commission went wrong, and went wrong badly, and I don't think it has recovered from that perception, where one side of the democracy, the body politic, views it as biased, is when it refused to apologize for the way it handled that very first report. Was it last year?
I believe it would have either been last year or late 2023.
Right. The way it was handled was poor. Having sent the referral, the report that says that it was a referral for criminal prosecution, knowing that you had another report that said there was nothing to prosecute, you had the executive director acting as he did, yeah? And not recognizing that damaged confidence.
The
and
irony was that they blamed the parliamentarians.
And simply continuing along as if, you know.
They actually blamed the parliamentarians, saying, well, that is how they structured the law. That is how we worked within its bounds.
And they've clearly walked that back because the way they've been operating since. Yeah, precisely. Yes. So they should have apologized in the first instance and said, on reflection, we accept that we erred in that. I think that would have gone some way in repairing the breach. To simply double down, act like you did nothing wrong, proceed, it left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth. And I think that persisted. So everything it now does, people look at it through that lens of, you're really just out to get him.
But hasn't that been the posture of the Integrity Commission? Even their first, I believe, sitting with the commissioners at the Oversight Committee, it's quite clear that they have a posture of, we're above this.
Arrogance. And it's why I said, and a lot of people criticize me for saying it, but I took great offense to the way the parliamentarians allowed themselves as representatives of the Jamaican people to be cowed and buoyed in the chamber. Yeah? I didn't think anything that the commission chairman did was funny or amusing. The whole thing, the whole spectacle was alarming to me. And you're right, that has been their posture. We're above it all, it's not helpful. And I think until they recognize that kind of posturing is not helpful, this will continue. This will continue. I also said once that I think part of the problem is who makes up the commission. Retired judges are not used to giving account of themselves. Judges, let me not even call them retired. Judges are not used to giving account or appearing before Parliament or answering questions from the media.
Both agree with that.
And so that's a problem. I get that would be a problem for the retired president of the Court of Appeal. I get that. Because all his life he has sat on an ivory.
My lord.
Right.
My lord, how are you doing?
And there's been
okay, my lord.
And
yes,
he has
my lord.
benefited from great deference. Yeah? Everything he has said was quite literally the law. He has a different role now. The Auditor General, for the most part, it's the same thing. She has been the one that has interrogated, issued her reports, and that's been the end of it.
But to be fair to the Auditor General, she's never adopted that kind of
No.
posture.
I'm just saying the type of interrogation that it requires in terms of how they're conducting their business, she has not been subject to that. Right? She's largely just prepared a report, submitted it to Parliament. She's appeared before Parliament to give her answers. the kind of scrutiny has not been attendant to her kind of work. And I think that's part of the problem. So perhaps in reviewing the act, what the legislators need to do is to look at who makes up the commission. Who are the commissioners? It now prescribes that they must be drawn from specific areas, the retired judges, for example. Perhaps you should look at that, because these are just not people who are used to this kind of scrutiny and questioning.
And I think there needs to be clear provisions made in that act as to a media policy from the Integrity Commission where it at least requires them to come before if not the press, just a general media
the Parliament.
briefing.
I think it needs to be explicit that they need to come before the Parliament, because the Parliament, I wouldn't even go as far as the media.
Rather than suggest that we're doing you a favor.
Right. It needs to be a statutory duty that they appear before the Parliament, perhaps once per quarter or twice per year, however they determine that. But I agree with you, that needs to be a statutory duty that they have.
But is it interesting, though, in this latest report, for all of those people believing the Prime Minister did something wrong, wouldn't you then find it strange that at the very end in its recommendations, the Integrity Commission called on the Prime Minister to fix the situation in terms of setting new legislation and putting in certain policies if they felt that the Prime Minister did something wrong?
Curious state of affairs.
And isn't it strange that in that same report they said that the last report was concluded?
No, I flagged that immediately while reading it. It was a very odd thing to say that a recently concluded. You did not conclude that investigation. But I just hope some amount of humility kicks in and they recognize this is just not helpful. It's not helpful. Because Dennis is right. You need all Jamaicans to trust the institution. And you know what's a model? And I would say to the Integrity Commission, perhaps look at how it has conducted itself in an extremely partisan environment. The Electoral Commission of Jamaica. And sure, people might say, oh yeah, that's because both parties are represented there. But I think if you put in place standard operating procedures for how you can, for example, in the United States, the Justice Department will not announce a criminal investigation within a certain period towards an election. Those kinds of things are meant to give the perception that we're not trying to influence outcomes, we're not trying to tip this, our hands on the scale, which is why you end up with things like people saying in a statement, isn't it a coincidence that this comes at a particular time, or you release a statutory declaration on a particular day?
I was shocked by the speed of which this report came. Remember, it started in July of this year, which was after the annual report, if I'm correct. Yes. And it came out in a few months.
So you see what I mean? No, that could well be a coincidence. No, it really could be. But the fact that perception can linger, that's part of the problem. Let's take the break. Come back with more.
Nation's Business was brought to you by BH Paints. Paint it, love it with BH Paints.
GK1 now introduces third-party motor insurance from GK General Insurance. Download and log into the GK1 app, then select one of 3 affordable third-party options. The time by GK General Insurance is
7:05.
Are you ready to turn your sales and marketing skills into high earnings? Nationwide 90 FM is searching for business development executives to help us grow our business and build lasting client relationships. If you have experience across all stages of the sales cycle and possess strong communication, negotiation, and time management skills with a proven sales track record, this opportunity is perfect for you. Join our team and work with the top corporate brands, media agencies, and of course, our on-air personalities. Enjoy networking opportunities, professional growth, and competitive commissions. Ready to take the next step? Send your resume to hr@nationwidenewsnetwork.com today.
Taboo topics. Boy Things After Dark.
Riveting discussions.
Celebrity news and interviews.
Topics that are shunned by society.
And everything else in between. Boy Things After Dark with Kareem Boyatings. Each and every Wednesday, 8 to 11 p.m. Boy Things After Dark. No topic is too taboo or hard to discuss. Come get your mind blown and your curiosity explored. Boy Things After Dark.
Tune in to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Stay ahead of the curve with our cutting-edge reporting and accurate breaking news coverage.
We're having an earthquake. Oh, God.
Hear it here first on Nationwide 90 FM. Tune in, turn up the volume, and listen. We bring a mix of news, entertainment, and sports to your lives.
Nationwide 90 FM's live and continuous coverage of the World Championships in Budapest, Hungary.
News and discussions week mornings.
Coming up in the news at 6 for this morning.
Entertainment in the afternoons, then news again in the evenings.
Nationwide news at this hour. Fired.
Also, tune in to the entertainment and sports shows in the nights and on the weekends.
It is Boy Things After Dark right here on Nationwide 90 FM.
Everything is news, from current affairs and entertainment to sports, business, and other categories.
Nationwide 90 FM. This is Beanie Man. Give it to them. Zaga, Zen.
From every whisper to every commotion.
That's rubbish. The KSAMC cannot investigate itself.
Every news story unfolds here first at Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. Every sound is a story, and every story we share is news.
It's time for you to have your say now. The numbers to call: 630-937-124, 618-8255. Those are the numbers to call. What was that, Dana? I don't know who's the only one. Carl is on the line.
Your friend.
Good evening. Good evening, Carl.
What a nice time to be in Jamaica.
You said that last week. Last week or earlier this week you told me that. Why?
Yes, man. I heard Mr. Morgan afraid to tell you that the integrity is now finished. Nobody have anything. A lack of integrity commission have no more integrity to put out a document. That finished with. People finished with that couple months ago, and yesterday that finished with. There was lack of integrity. That is finished with. Now, anything where them put out now, nobody now have the time to waste with them there. Them there. From Christie, come right down. And I want to just say something to you. Can you imagine if these documents that is coming out of that lack of integrity place, and we used to have a judge is the head of it, I wonder how much people inside prison now. That's what I'm thinking about today.
Wait, what?
How much people is in prison under that judge?
I don't understand the relation or the...
If this former judge is the head of a lack of integrity commission, I wonder how much people are in prison now from his ruling then. Are we thinking about those things? We should be thinking about those things.
I can't imagine why we would think about those things.
Yes, ma, we have to think about
Justice Seymour Panton, Carl. Yes, Justice Seymour Panton served Jamaica as a jurist honorably. The highest standard, I'm telling you, the highest standard. There has never been any question of his impartiality or his conduct as a judge. Never. Or has any ruling of his ever come under any scrutiny for any impropriety. So let's just be very clear on that. Okay. Very well.
Anyhow, you see, North Street almost come to crumbling today.
I don't know if that's what happened, but okay, Carl.
Okay. I don't have no surprise, but anyhow, North Street, won't get no bailout as long as the Jamaica Labour Party is in office. And I'm looking for...
I don't think they were seeking... I don't know if they were seeking... What is wrong with you? I don't know if they were seeking a bailout. What you get at... What is that?
You're not scared, keep quiet. You don't know what these people trying to bring down this government for. You don't understand. You don't understand half of the story. You don't understand half of the story. People want them government to come back into office. You can't get back them bailout. And that's what anything where Andrew do, whether it is good or bad, it becomes in the light of the bad. Okay, you send out a report and put nil at this man. Nil. His name shouldn't be even into that document. But it come out that him is 0. And TikTok, TVJ, can you call TVJ now, TikTok, then just run with that information. And anything where they get, they just run with it like a TikTok. They don't check nothing. And when everything, I'm disappointed with my government and Andrew Holness. I talk about them if he only apologize. If he sue them.
Well, that was the threat. The threat was that he will sue if they do not retract.
If he sue them tarnish him for 4 years. The same TVJ they took.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true.
And if Andrew say A, then say B. I remember a journalist there interview Andrew Holness. And when she carried a wrong story, Cliff Hughes interview her and asked her to retract it. And she said it is out there already, it has to remain. And why do you think you know live as a radio station? And why do you think you know are surviving? Cliff made a mistake of calling an election, and the morning Cliff come and apologize. Those people doesn't apologize for nothing that they do that is wrong to this government. And it is a disgrace in Jamaica to see the lack of integrity commission is handling the head of state into your country like this. For politics, straight politics play out all yesterday. And anybody can tell me, no, politics are going, point it out to me. But we have to be asking ourselves, even today I was somewhere, how much pay does them get to be tarnishing Andrew? It seems like some big money run to tarnish the Prime Minister. That is the talk on the street now.
Okay, all right. Thank you for the call, Carl. I mean, obviously, there is zero evidence to support those assertions that Carl has made. Now, listeners, we're getting word that prominent Mobay businessman Robert Russell has died. He owned and operated, of course, the famous Pier 1 restaurant in Montego Bay. We're being told Mr. Russell died. I believe his son is Robin Russell, who is the president of the JHTA. Yeah, we have Cliff Hughes with us now.
Good evening, Mr. Brooks. Good evening, listeners. Sad news for the Montego Bay business community and the wider Jamaica. Very well-known, very prominent businessman, entrepreneur, Robert Duxie Russell has passed. He was 76 years old. Robert Russell is famous, especially in Western Jamaica, for pioneering the development of Pier 1, which is a landmark business in the western city of Montego Bay. He was also one of the founding fathers of Reggae Sunsplash. Yes? He was also one of the early pioneers in the indigenous film industry. Yes? He was part of the Harder They Come production team. Yes? And worked very closely with Perry Hensel. And I suppose a lot of you young people would know that he was also very prominent in national politics. He was part of the group of Jamaicans who walked out of Edward Seaga's Labour Party in 1995 to join Bruce Golding in the formation and establishment of what was then and still is fledgling now the National Democratic Movement. Yes, and he's part of a group of business pioneers that have fueled the development of Montego Bay. You know, this is a real loss for the western end of the island, in particular, you know, the community of Pier 1. His son, Robin, I think he's the president of the Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association. Robert was a hotelier as well, Duxie as he's popularly known. You know, it's a big loss for Montego Bay.
Thank you so much, Cliff.
Thank you.
So the news there, as you heard from Cliff, popular hotelier Robert Russell has died. Yeah, prominent Mobile businessman, and Cliff just giving you there an overview of his contributions or condolences to his family. All right, so we're going to take a break and come back with more. All right, just before we go to the break, listeners, just to advise you that we're being told that Television Jamaica has retracted and apologized to the Prime Minister. Of course, we told you earlier that Mr. Holness's attorneys had written to the station threatening to sue for defamation over a news report yesterday. Well, we're now being told that that retraction and apology has come. Yeah? We take the break, come back with more.
Taboo topics. Bulletins after dark.
Riveting discussions.
Celebrity news and interviews.
Topics that are shunned by society.
And everything else in between. Bulletins after dark with Kareem Bulletins each and every Wednesday, 8 to 11 p.m. Bulletins after dark. No topic is too taboo or hard to discuss. Come get your mind blown and your curiosity explored. Bulletins after dark.
As we grow older, there are many challenges that we have to confront, but these years can represent the best in our lives. Coming of Age during Nationwide This Morning on Thursdays explores issues persons 50 and over confront. It also provides expert opinions on how we can improve the quality of our lives as we get older. That's Coming of Age, this and every Thursday during Nationwide This Morning at 6:51 a.m.
Come into the parlor, there's a welcome there for you.
Welcome to the Mayor's Parlor with Desmond McKenzie.
From 1 to 6 p.m. every Sunday, you'll now get more of your favorite vintage music.
Put your head on my shoulder.
Nationwide 90 FM will transform your Sunday into a musical time machine that will take you way back.
Come on, let's go back in time.
This magic moment.
Journey into yesteryear with Desmond McKenzie in the Mayor's Parlor.
I've got the music to jog your memory and make you smile.
Put your sweet lips a little closer to the phone.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the best in vintage music.
Come into the Mayor's Parlor every Sunday between 1 and 6 p.m. here on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Get it all in one go. Download and sign up now. The time by the 1JN Passport app is
20 minutes up.
For the Fossridge Christmas in November sale. Shop from November 24 to December 5 and save on chandeliers, wall lamps, ceiling fans, and LED bulbs. It's cold outside, so ask about our solar water heaters. It's the Fossridge Christmas in November sale. November 24 to December 5. It's a Fossridge.
The most spectacular year-end sale is back at IQ Optical. Get up to 75% on optical frames and sunglasses in December. Conditions apply.
Taking your calls, 630-937-124, 618-8255. Blossom, good evening.
Good evening to you, Bo.
Good evening.
Two things. And it's an observation I've made over many moons, but just want to find out. I want to find out if it is a part of your training in journalism that when you invite people to speak on any subject matter and you throw out a question to them, while they're answering, you interject. So I think that the person's train of thought just goes. Two, I listen for the answers after. Ricardo, are you the person who arranged your Friday afternoon program? And I'm just asking, because for me, and I think many others, you're fed with the same menu from Monday through Friday. Calling the same set of people, calling or regurgitating the same thing. Couldn't you sort of section off your program? You don't like music, a little music. I'm an age person. You're senior, very senior. And you'd like something different. A little, something you can jig, sit down, have a glass of wine, and your friend, and, the same set of people, it's hard on your ears. So I listen for your
No,
answers.
please stay. Please stay with us while I
All
answer.
right.
Yes. So for the first question about whether it's part of our training. So yes, we are taught interviewing techniques. And I think it depends a lot on what the answer is, what's being said. And you sort of gauge whether it is appropriate to interrupt. Sometimes it's not. Different types of interviews. Some interviews may be adversarial, some may be meant to be informative, so different types of interview. And it really is up to the presenter, the journalist, the reporter, to determine when they believe it would be appropriate to interrupt. Now, sometimes you may hear the interviewee, for example, pushing a line or suggesting something that begs a response. It begs a response, yeah? And so you interrupt. So that's my answer to that. And interviews are not monologues. Like, we don't just throw out a question and they answer, then we throw another question and they answer. That's sort of not. And I guarantee you that you'd find that after a while listening to that kind of exchange boring.
So
But
can I say something here?
Sure.
Because listening this evening with Mr. Morgan, he was giving a quote.
Yes.
And then you just said, you interjected and said, oh, that's over the top.
Yeah.
That was
that's
not
how
an
he feels.
interjection.
And as long as it's not something to get the station
He had
in
finished.
problem.
No, man, he had
Yes.
finished the quote. He had come to the end of it. We both know it very well. It's a quote from the Holocaust. We didn't bother to bring that context to say it was from the Holocaust, but it was a poem that was written in reference to the persecution of the Jews. But he had come to the end of it. That was the end of it. I allowed him to read the entire thing before I asked the next question.
Well, I'm glad you did.
No problem. Your second, you remind me, you sound a lot like my high school principal, which is a good thing because she used to make me nervous. But anyhow, the second
No,
question.
that's not my intention.
No, it's fine. I'm just saying,
What to do it for?
yeah, man, that's fine. I'm just saying you remind me of her.
Okay.
The second question was, about the Friday show. So, no, I do not not organize it. The planning of the show is the province of the producer. You want to talk to her?
Who is?
Sorry, Dana Davy is her name.
Okay.
No.
I guess she's a young person. I won't tell him my age. I'm up there. Right? Man sounds so, but you want a little something to, cheer you up, make you jig a little bit and,
That's an interesting, right, so that I happen to take a different view on that music thing. Just because of the nature of the program, I take a different view. I mean, there are programs on this station that provides that. Now, as a personal matter, I would be opposed to that. I think Siobhan sort of likes it. So I do have an argument to say, it's bad or good. It's just as a personal matter, I don't prefer it. But I suppose it's a matter of taste.
In my response,
Ricardo.
Yes.
You're a young man.
Yes.
And I don't like to compare people, but to be honest with you.
Yes.
You see the morning program with Short George? Oh, Jesus.
But
George and Jermaine.
But therein lies the thing, ma'am.
Lord, we want a little of that on a Friday. True.
Yeah, again.
Even if it's even 15 minutes of it. So have her consider that.
But,
if you can.
I'd like to, because I'm thankful that you brought up the fact that George is on the morning program now. And George was the one who put in place that music on a Friday instruction. Yes. And there's a reason for that, because George is very steeped in the musical history and the musical lore, and you require somebody like that. I'm not capable of that. I don't think Ricardo is capable of that. Yes, we could, and I enjoyed the music segment because it gave me a bit of a history and an understanding. And an understanding of the history of the music that we have here, and the rich music we have here in Jamaica. But in terms of to bring that history and that lore forward, I don't have that capability yet.
Siobhan, I don't think people want to hear history as such. They just want to just get something different, something to cheer them up going into the weekend, man. Lord, the same people, them. Me no mind hearing calls sometime, but they must know when call to stop, right? Put in a 15 minutes there, so, and you'll be surprised how your listenership, your thing go. That's just my 2 pence.
But you see, and that is interesting, because that's one perspective. I've had listeners call me and tell me that they want us to abolish public opinion because they think the segment is nonsensical. Because, I mean, it's different tastes for different people. As I say, as a personal matter, I don't think playing music in this show is appropriate. Siobhan, as I said, has come to like it.
And I have said, and as Ricardo said, we've actually received complaints from people about the playing using the current affairs program
to
for
play
that
music, that they find it juvenile and idle. Now, you mentioned the morning show. I just want to say something as somebody who has hosted that show. I think that show and morning radio generally lends itself to more lightheartedness. When I was there, Jermaine would play music just the same, yeah. And I think in the morning it lends itself to that. But I hear you, and I appreciate the feedback.
Okay, have a good night.
You too, Blossom.
All right, okay.
630-937-124, 618-8255. Still taking your calls. Let's take a break. Come back with more.
Before we go to the break, the matter regarding, yes, I chuckled. It was unfortunate. I was in my thoughts and I was listening to Cliff speaking, and I heard someone say something in my ear that accorded with a thought I had at that very moment, and before I could catch myself, I chuckled. It was inappropriate. It should not have happened, but it was just what I heard in my ear accorded with what happened, which in what I was thinking at that very moment, and it simply slipped me. So my apologies for that chuckle. It was not appropriate for the moment, and it should not have happened, listeners.
Take the break. Come back with more.
Get it all in one go. Download and sign up now. The time by the 1JN Passport app is
7:30. 7:30.
Taboo topics. Voyagings after dark.
Riveting discussions.
Celebrity news and interviews.
Topics that are shunned by society.
And everything else in between. Voyagings After Dark with Kareem Voyagings each and every Wednesday, 8 to 11 p.m. Voyagings After Dark. No topic is too taboo or hard to discuss. Come get your mind blown and your curiosity explored. Voyagings After Dark.
Are you ready to turn your sales and marketing skills into high earnings? Nationwide 90 FM is searching for business development executives to help us grow our business and build lasting client relationships. If you have experience across all stages of the sales cycle and possess strong communication, negotiation, and time management skills with a proven sales track record, this opportunity is perfect for you. Join our team and work with the top corporate brands, media agencies, and of course, our on-air personalities. Enjoy networking opportunities, professional growth, and competitive commissions. Ready to take the next step? Send your resume to hr@nationwidenewsnetwork.com today.
Just before we go to the next caller, we have the editorial note from Television Jamaica. It reads, viewers may recall that as a breaking news item last night, we attempted to summarize the details of the latest Integrity Commission report tabled in Parliament. TVJ says in doing so, we made a significant error, which we retract and now correct. It says Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness is not the owner of the property being built, contrary to the planning approval and building permit issued by the Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation. It says, the continues, the property is owned by Estate Bridge Holdings Limited.
It says stating otherwise was a genuine error which we regret and for which we unreservedly apologize to the Prime Minister. So that is coming in just now from TVJ News.
Gary, good evening.
Good evening, Ricardo. Well, never have been a stitches. Shot, Judge. Anyway, look here, guys. Tell me something. This matter with the Prime Minister. I'd love to hear a perspective from the NIA and JAMP on this. Have you guys reached out to them for any comment on it?
I think JFJ said it would not be commenting on...
Not JFJ, NIA.
Oh, NIA and JAMP. No.
NIA and JAMP.
I don't think we've specifically asked NIA and JAMP.
Because the thing is that, really and truly, and I listen to all the commentators. I know even this morning, what the Integrity Commission has done, right? It proves to me that it's a very deliberate act. Because even one of your commentators this morning, Nadine, she didn't read the report. So she was but she started off, right? With the erroneous report that it was commenting that it was a property owned by the Prime Minister. And she's saying it's not until she actually read the report she realized that it was something that he had nothing to do with. No, there are hundreds of thousands of people in Jamaica now that are commenting and that are commenting about it, right? And on TikTok and social media with the wrong impression.
And that's the responsibility of the media. And as I said, I agree with Dennis when he said that some things have to be put up front. And that document that Integrity Commission sent out, unless you read it carefully, rather than just reading the headline and then reading the executive summary, unless you read that document carefully, you will be taking away the incorrect opinion.
And that is why I tell you, I can't understand the life of me. How is it that year after year I see that station over there getting awards for good journalism and something there.
No,
and
man.
all they do is regurgitate I'm
Gary.
serious.
No,
All
Gary.
I see that they do is regurgitate.
Gary.
They don't do investigative reporting like I see that you guys have do over here.
Gary. Gary?
Yes, sir.
To be fair to my colleagues and my friends who work at the RJR Gleaner Group, I take nothing away from their work that has been awarded. Nothing
Well,
at all.
man.
Nothing at all. I mean, look, let me say, errors are a part of this trade.
We make errors.
We make errors here.
And guess what?
I think, hold on, it's how you manage them. What has been drilled into our heads by Cliff Hughes, George Davis, the leadership of this newsroom, is that the moment we detect that we have made an error, we must apologize for the error. And that is not, and let me say, that is not always easy to do. Sometimes shame would have killed we.
Right, and I'm telling you, you're probably the only station that I have seen, news media, that I have seen where retraction, without being forced, retractions are made forthwith.
Well,
it's buried. It's either buried somewhere around on the back page, or it's buried somewhere during the middle of the newscast.
Yeah. Right? I can't comment on those editorial choices. I can just tell you what we are drilling in here. In fact, when we make an error here, the kind of hand wringing and frankly sadness that we have is it's
right. But I mean, this thing with Integrity Commission, though, it don't look right. It don't look right, and I mean, something definitely has to happen. Something definitely has to change, because the impression now that people are coming away with, like what Dennis said, is that there's something amiss. That should not have been.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, as I say, if you have a referee and the referee is the focus of the game, that means that something is wrong. Because the focus should be on the two teams playing, not on the referee. Yeah. And that is what Integrity Commission now has done. They have put themselves now in the limelight, where they have become, to me, compromised.
Yeah, I take Dennis's point on that. Yeah, I see how when you cause that, how it's operated, it causes that problem, and then that takes away from its impartial role. I take that point.
Yeah, when you watch a match and you go away leaving the match saying the referee, talking about what the referee has done, that means that the referee has done a poor job, because really and truly the Integrity Commission should be so impartial and so seamless in what they're doing, right? Behind the scenes, seamlessly doing, being fair-handed with what they're doing, right? They shouldn't be out there. It shouldn't be like that we're having newscasts after newscasts and people commenting about this. It shouldn't be. For something as so frivolous and basic as the fact that say you put the Prime Minister's name on a report that he has nothing to do with.
Yeah.
And that to me that is deliberate, because if he has nothing at all to do with it, why is his name on it?
All right, Gary.
Thank you guys for listening.
No problem.
And have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful Christmas for those people that get.
You too, my brother. So a comment here that I just want to respond to. Al Ellis says, "Why does Ricardo always want to be politically correct? I don't like that about him." Now, if you're referring to my comment just now about our colleagues at the RJR Gleaner Group, you see, there's a way in which we know firsthand what it is like to be attacked, maligned, tear down, and all kinds of motives and innuendo attributed to our work. And oftentimes, almost 100% of the time, it is baseless. And people make up all kinds of story about how we do our work. And I mean, I've heard things about who pay people here and all kinds of nonsense. If people do that to us unfairly, it would be wrong of me to allow people to do that to others who I know who I know are just trying to do their jobs as best they can. If you have evidence to support the claims, fine. But it can't just be because you feel so. Because we have been the victims of that. And it don't feel good. So I'm not being politically correct. I just don't think it should be done. Who is next? Anthony, good evening.
Hey, Ricardo, everyone. How are you?
Good evening, sir. How are you
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good also. I want to start on this point, Ricardo, that the Integrity Commission is something that is needed. We need.
You said something that is what?
Needed.
Needed. Okay.
Needed.
Yeah.
We need a body like that to where we can have checks and balances. All right. However, this present Integrity Commission are the persons who are serving at present. And I would say it as strong as this. I'd put this commission into disrepute based on utterances that was made, based on reports that was sent, and I don't want to assume deliberately not sent because they want to have a certain reaction first before they send the other report. And based on everything that has been done, they have put the commission in a position where the word integrity doesn't stand, because whenever they send a report, persons are going to scrutinize it. Persons are going to wonder what are the motives behind this report and stuff like that. And because of that, I think, and I will not question Justice Ponton antecedent, his credential. He serves the country well as a judge and stuff. And others, maybe others. However, I think that they should unblock, send their resignation to the Governor General, and allow for new people to be appointed and have a fresh start where the Integrity Commission is concerned. And all of that they're tainted now. When you heard one political opponent can come out and make certain statements, and then you see a report come out along that line, and you start to say, wait, so somebody in there is speaking to the political opponent or something for them to get certain information and all that. So there's a lot of things, Ricardo. And I'm going to say this about the director investigation. I am not saying that he's corrupt or whatever, but also based on his antecedents. And he knows his antecedents also. And some of these things are coming directly from him. It leaves questions to be asked.
What antecedents?
Go again. What's that, Ricardo?
What antecedents? You said the director of investigation, right?
Yeah, but previous, where work that he had done in the past.
No, I think you're confusing the two. It's not the director of investigation that worked. We can say it. Previously worked for the then opposition leader, Dr. Peter Phillips.
Mr. Stevenson?
No, it's not Mr. Stevenson.
I believe that is the director of
information and complaints, right? I think his name is Craig Beresford.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, man.
Then also, another thing with IC was that robbery, and has that person given a report to the police as yet? Have we heard anything more about that as yet?
Yes, I believe he did give the report to the police. That's my recollection. After there was a public comment, I think that in the annual report, right? They made a comment on it, and Fitz Bailey subsequently came out and said, "No, not so. We have tried to get the statement, and we didn't get the statement." And I think after that, he did give a statement. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But that was quite some time after the incident did happen, though, we should say.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But because I'm sure you guys would agree with me that as we speak, the credibility of such an important institution is really tattered and stuff. And we need a restart. I would say we need a restart where that commission is concerned. Would you agree?
I mean, a restart. I think I would say that active consideration should be given to a change of personnel, because I don't know that the current leadership, that the situation will ever proceed in a way where one side feels that the current leadership will be fair to them. Now, whether that, it could just be a matter of perception, it could be not a matter of reality. But because of how everything has unfolded, I think the acrimony, I think I would advise that consideration be given to changing the personnel.
And when you say leadership, do you mean the directors or the commissioners, or both?
I would say both. I would say both. Yes, I'd say both. I don't mean any staff members, routine staff members, like the whole commission. No.
Which is why I said the directors and the commissioners.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Ricardo, one other thing.
Unless they change course in terms of just their, as Siobhan put it, their posturing. I don't think enough care is being given to that.
Ricardo, at this point in time, I don't think changing course is going to help, because the commission has become politicized now in the view of, let's say, in the view of the persons who are supporters of the government and stuff, because they see the commission as something now that is like, as the Prime Minister said, is being targeted. And as you rightly said earlier, if they had apologized for that report that was sent, and knowing that they have a report that said, hey, there was nothing to be charged, if after Greg Christie had made that statement about whatever, if some apology that came there or whatever, then maybe. But with nothing said and all of that, it just look away. So because of that, you're not going to find no people, or at least the supporters of the governing party is going to have any confidence in them whatsoever.
Yeah,
and that's the
which is why.
problem,
No, I agree. Right, which is why I'm saying, I would think that consideration should be given, because I fear that the situation is too far gone, that one side of the society may just never have confidence again. So I agree with you on that. Yeah. And let me just correct something. It's Ryan Evans, who is the director of corruption prevention, not the director of information and complaints. It's not Craig Beresford. It's Ryan Evans. Mm-hmm.
Okay. One other quick point, Ricardo. Just like you, I know many of the persons that work with the, and let me put it as wide as this, the RGR communication group and stuff. And I agree with you. I agree with you in terms of that mistakes can be made and stuff and all of that and stuff. But I don't know, Ricardo. I have seen, and I've been around long enough now. I have seen some questionable stuff. Let me put it no stronger than that. And I am not coloring anybody or whatever, but when you're consistent with something, then you're going to put yourself in a position where persons are going to ask questions. And I put it no stronger than that. person are going to ask questions and so. Like you guys who are quick to apologize without being forced to, that doesn't happen everywhere. And to me, that's it.
Maybe I need to start. Maybe I need to start watching and reading more closely what comes out of the RJR Gleaner Group, because admittedly I don't read and watch as closely. So maybe I should start doing that, and I'll see.
Yeah. And one final point, Ricardo. You and I know this, that when you are writing something, you write in order to get a particular response. So that's why I think that the report that was sent to Parliament was written in a particular way to get a particular response, and I think it has gotten what it was meant sent out to, the desired result that it was sent out for and stuff. I think it was deliberate. That's my final point.
All right. Faithful, good evening.
Good evening, Siobhan. Good evening, Ricardo.
Good evening, Faithful.
Good, Captain. Question here. If someone went on strike at
Faithful?
If someone went on strike on Nationwide for more pay, would you report it?
Yes.
Oh, you would report it. I said no more on that.
No, but no, don't do that, Faithful, because the Gleaner reported that there was a strike.
But I didn't say the more. Just
Me know. Yes, nothing more, but me just tell you for the complete picture.
Yeah, I know what I'm saying. Did I report it?
I don't know. I don't.
No, they didn't. This place, I am a news freak.
Okay.
I listen to 3 News daily. IRFM, RJR, and the station. Okay, that's one. You see, with the report of the I don't think whatever the integrity does, it's not going to make any difference anymore. Because you see, if you support JLP, there's all they're going to say. At least not a radio station, it's no other radio station today. And it's like everything the integrity say, it was right, and trust me, believe me, take it from me.
Well, what I will say to you, Faithful, about that taking it as, and it's something I've talked about before when I used to be on Nationwide this morning. I think I did a What's on My Mind on it. There are some institutions in this country that we treat like sacred cows. Where once they say something, it's almost law, and nobody ever questions it, nobody interrogates it, and if you interrogate or question it, then you're seen as the odd one out. And I've always found that very strange. And I think there are sections of the Jamaican society that treats the Integrity Commission that way. That once they say something, that, they are infallible, and it's just taken as gospel. Yeah. And then there are some of us as well in this society who very wrongly believe that all politicians are thieves. And therefore, once something is said bad about a politician, and it's automatically true. I think that is also a problem we have in this society, and we should stop that.
This become this thing with the report that integrity putting out. Whether you want to accept it, yes, and it become between PNP and JLP. It depends on which way they listen to. It become between PNP and JLP. And some commentator, oh come on, man. Some person better than become finance minister for people when they become. God, every day is to them. It's nothing that does enough, but we don't doom and gloom and how to make them. And I think after that, there was a report. Oh, forgive me. There was a report with the Petrojam case. With the Petrojam case with Windley and what's his name? Mm-hmm.
Bahadur Singh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. And the lawyer that represent both Bahadur Singh and the next fellow, they put a report that said, well, from start to finish, it was political motivated. And they tarnished those person's name. And it was just nothing but political witch hunt. And I keep asking myself, Could who they be speaking to? You have any idea?
No, I don't know.
You have no idea what they're speaking to?
No.
So who was pushing the political line?
Who was putting the political line?
Who was pushing the political line that Green?
Well, I mean, the parliamentary opposition did make heavy weather of the Petrodram scandal.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it caused the government good friend of the return of, can I get back a cabinet post again?
You know, one of our colleagues said to me the other day that we probably should do some reflection on how that whole thing unfolded, because you're right, some people were permanently damaged by that, and even when subsequent reports found that they did nothing wrong, I think like Dr. Andrew Wheatley, didn't my recollection is that the report found that he was not culpable for anything, yeah?
No, there was no mention of Mr. Dr. Wheatley being in any form.
Right, and I think he has suffered for that.
A whole lot.
Yeah. That's my recollection of that, yeah.
He was talking.
Yeah.
When I read Bert Samuel and that lawyer say it was pure political, and he say with so venom and so outraged, I was shocked and surprised.
Yeah. But it's not the first thing, it's not the first time it's happening. Remember what JD was its name?
Yes.
Yeah, but
you remember how the Prime Minister came back to Jamaica and fired Mike Henry?
Yeah,
and then after that, it was found that the minister did nothing wrong.
But we are coming from,
yeah.
To who speak it, and to who they, I'm trying to fathom who are they accusing, pushing political line.
Well, that I couldn't tell you.
That you couldn't tell me.
Yeah.
Something to pardon any.
All right, Faithful.
God bless you.
You know, Ricardo, if there's one criticism I'm going to level at a specific individual at the Integrity Commission, it's going to be Kevon Stevenson. I've had the pleasure of reading many of his reports.
Was it a pleasure? I don't know. I mean, I'm not even trying to be rude. Some of the reports are no. I don't know that it's a pleasure to read them, but okay.
I operate on a simple principle of whatever can be best acknowledgeable to incompetence, that is what you should take over malice. But I feel Mr. Stevenson often takes this route where he believes malice is the root of all decisions made when he comes to his conclusions in his reports. And I think he sometimes needs to take a step back in his wording and phrasing and
it's funny
how he approaches the writing of the report, because nobody else at the commission can induce him to change the wording of his report. So anything that he writes, it's not subject to editorial oversight or anything of this such. Those are his words, and I think he needs to take a step back and realize that he needs to be a little bit more clinical in his wording of his reports.
I will remind you of something before we go. There was another office in this country that took a similar approach, and that office always came into conflict with the office of the DPP, and that office was led by a particular gentleman, the office of the Contractor General.
Yes.
I won't say anything else, but recall how that office, under that particular gentleman, went about its work in a sensational way, just trying to get the most, I suppose, headlines and eyeballs, and all the time the DPP used to say, these are administrative breaches at most. They do not rise to the level of criminal misconduct. Okay? Just, something to think on. Dana Davey. She gone. Oh, no, see her there. Thank you, Dana. Appreciate you. Damien Cunningham. Thank you, my boss. Sorry, Damien Cunningham, the girl then. Stunning. That's what it is. Our colleagues in the newsroom, led by our editor, Kimon Thompson. Thank you, guys. Our callers, contributors, and you, our valued listeners. We appreciate you all so much. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
Good evening.
The mission of the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs includes revising Jamaica's legal and constitutional infrastructure and accelerating the pace of reform. The time by the MLCA is...
It's 8 o'clock.
Happy holidays from Team Adam and Eve.
We invite you to indulge in our relaxing spa atmosphere or gift someone spa pampering this season. Visit us at www